the boys and stuff. I says, I'm going to allow time now to have fun with the boys outside.
Load the car up. There's igloo snow in places.
Is there? Yeah. I want to survive. I don't want to climb any mountains, Greg.
All right. Take care of yourself, Lee. 9 o'clock, time for a news update. Over to Emma Ryan.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. Senior HSE officials in the region are to meet with North West Oireachtas members and Regional Health Forum members on Friday to discuss the future of Nowdoc. Confirmation of the meeting comes as Donegal County Council prepares to write to the HSE seeking clarification on the future of the service. Councillor Donald Coyle said it's important that clarification is given on the status of the Letterkenny base and also the satellite units in Carndonagh, Derrybeg and Mount Charles. He says the Nowdoc service is taking a lot of pressure off Letterkenny University Hospital, and any diminution of this service could have a serious knock-on effect on the hospital.
Without Nowdoc, I don't know what would be happening in Letterkenny now, because the service that they provide, and I know, like I've been stated in there at the meeting, that there's a lot of tweaking to be done in the service, but I do believe that it's a fantastic service, and it is certainly relieving the pressure on the hospital.
Met Éireann has issued a new status yellow advisory warning for Donegal until Friday. The forecaster says it will stay cold until Friday with sharp to severe frost and icy stretches on roads and footpaths. Some showers of hail, sleet and snow are also expected. Motorists are urged to exercise extreme caution while out on the roads during the cold spell. Meanwhile, there needs to be a major increase in the resources allocated to the Letterkenny Municipal District during inclement wintry weather, particularly in terms of estates and footpaths. Councillor Jerry McMonigal says yesterday Letterkenny's town centre was extremely quiet because people were not leaving their homes as a result of treacherous footpaths and difficulty leaving their estates. He's particularly anxious to see more salt bins distributed and salt and grit provided.
What I asked is that we had look and plan this for the future, and that we put more resources into clearing the snow and allowing people to get to their work, and also to get to businesses and be able to buy and spend money in the retail shops, but more in particular to protect those most vulnerable in our communities, and particularly to ensure that carers can get in to look after their patients.
A Donegal councillor says the updated regulations for the defective block scheme is taking far too long. Campaigners were previously promised clarification on the regulations prior to Christmas, but the information has not yet been released. Councillor Martin McDermott says the regulations are an essential part of getting the scheme up and running. He is lobbying the government to speed up the legislation.
Families are in dire straits, and we need more priority by the department and by the housing agency, and we need this expedited because we've waited long enough, and I think we cannot keep going on the way we're going on, where things are just being kicked down the road with no answers as to what is happening. It's vitally important that we get these regulations ASAP, and I will be calling on the department and the housing agency to immediately release the regulations so that we can both see them and give comment and try and get the new scheme up and running ASAP.
A look at the weather. Today will be cold with sunny spells and scattered showers of rain, sleet and snow. Highest temperatures of just 2 to 5 degrees. That's all for now. Our next update will be at 10 o'clock.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Now offering MyCU current account and debit MasterCard, bringing full banking features, delivered with the same local trustworthy service of your credit union. The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till noon show on Highland Radio. And now it's time for the talk of the Northwest. The 9 to noon show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello, a very good morning to you. It is 4 minutes past 9 on this Wednesday, the 18th of January 2023. How are you keeping? I do hope you're very well on another cold morning. In a way, I think the roads are a little bit more dangerous this morning. Not wishing to scare anyone. I know people have appointments and stuff, and we'll try and give you some specific information as we go along. But I mean, just myself and my route, they just felt a little bit less safe this morning than they did yesterday. If there's any information you need us to share out there, any questions you need us to answer, get in touch with us. WhatsApps or text to 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000, or give us a call on 07491 25,000. Your comments come in to us via email on comments@highlandradio.com. And if you want to watch the programme on your TV, your laptop, whatever it is, Go into YouTube, type Highland Radio Ireland. You can watch the show on your big screen. You can use Facebook Watch on your smart TV or Fire Stick, or on your tablet or mobile device as well, of course, and watch us there throughout the next 3 hours. See most of our guests as we talk to them. Or go onto our website, highlandradio.com, and click Watch Live. So no excuses. Chat to us, engage with us, no matter where you are, whatever you're doing. Let's look at the newspapers this morning. We'll start with the Finn Valley Voice. We need Gardaí. We need them fast, Harris told. We need our Gardaí to respond quickly. We need them to have the very best equipment, the very best vehicles, the very best communication systems to put them on the road quickly when a crime is committed. And especially in areas like the Finn Valley, we need our Gardaí to be on the case before the culprits escape across the border. Among the dozens of issues raised by the Donegal Joint Policing Committee to Garda Commissioner Drew Harris at last Monday's meeting, speed of response was paramount. On to the Inish Times, our focus on the NowDoc story there. NowDoc face-to-face appointments in Inishowen over Christmas and the New Year more than doubled compared to the same period last year. The out-of-hours doctor service, which has been under severe pressure due to flu and the emergence of COVID-19, saw the number of calls it received increase from 916 to 964, while doctor telephone advice calls increased from 73 to 107. Face-to-face appointments between doctors and patients increased to 581 from 243, while nurse telephone advice calls dropped from 213 to 117. Those are figures from the HSC. What was the situation with COVID last year, though? I'm not sure how much of that is us sicker this year, or we're out and about more, or what have you, but interesting stats nonetheless. The Garda Commissioner's visit to Donegal, the focus of the Donegal Post. Garda Commissioner Drew Harris received a grilling from several members of the Donegal Joint Policing Committee when he met them at Donegal County Council HQ in Lifford on Monday afternoon. He was challenged over resources, poor response times to crime, particularly along the border, pay, resources, the closure of stations in rural areas, and the new plan to regionalise the service. On to the Nationals now, and Eamon Ryan, obviously he likes to cycle around the place, but the reality is he's going to be getting protection, or he has protection anyway, and sometimes this protection is going to be cycling, but, and I kid you not, on occasions Eamon Ryan's going to be cycling around with a protection officer driving around behind him. Green Party leader Eamon Ryan is to get a peddling protection officer at times when he's cycling around Dublin on ministerial duties. Mr. Ryan confirmed the move to the Irish Independent. His protective officer will be on a bike because Mr. Ryan does not use a ministerial car, unlike other members of the cabinet. However, his protection detail will occasionally, and they say occasionally, be in a car, a Garda car, depending on operational requirements. It's understood that expressions of interest to fill the role have been sought in recent days from Garda members. So on occasion, Eamon Ryan, because of his environmental views, will be cycling around Dublin on a bike, undertaking his ministerial duties, while at the same time a person will be driving around behind him in a Garda car. This decision, or that decision, was made by Garda Síochána, that we will now, as ministers in cabinet, have protective officers, Mr. Ryan said. That's their call in terms of security. I suppose they'll have to be flexible in my case because I will still be cycling, but that's something I have to work on with Garda Síochána to make sure it works for them as well as for me. Mr. Ryan had a meeting on the matter with Garda Commissioner Drew Harris. But if the government as a whole was as committed to the environment as we're told, surely it'd be more than just one. Why does it just happen to be the one Green minister that cycles around the place? It's not very reflective of the wider cabinet, is it? But maybe, that's his choice. But as I say, just this notion of a petrol or diesel car driving around behind him on his bike with a protection officer just seems a wee bit strange. What do you think? Maybe it's a great thing. 08660 25,000. The Irish Times confirms the story we've been carrying for the last couple of days. The government is preparing to sign off on a scheme costing up to $2.5 billion to address defects in up to 100,000 Celtic Tiger-era apartments, but will face further pressure to deliver for thousands of homeowners who've already paid remediate to remediate such issues. So in other words, unlike what's happening here in Donegal, if someone's already spent the money fixing up their property as it relates to health and safety, well, they are likely, and if they're printing it the way they are, they're going to be looked after. Minister for Housing, Darragh O'Brien's expected to get cabinet approval this morning to draft laws enacting the landmark scheme to repair fire safety and other issues in the homes. Campaigners welcomed the news but warned that the detail of how the scheme, estimated to cost 1.5 to 2.5 billion, will operate would be crucial. The Construction Defects Alliance said last night that the fact that the government is about to make decisions on addressing apartment defects marked a major step forward. But the elephant in the room, of course, is the complete and utter lack of progress, as it seems, and as it relates to the defective concrete block scheme, which is only getting bigger and bigger because you might have heard over the last 24, 48 hours how more homes, more counties, more homes in the south of the country are being found to be damaged by defective concrete products. A quick one also on the front of the Times. Call for a tougher stance on so-called illegal immigration into the state has been heard at a meeting of Fine Gael politicians, with the issue moving to the centre of the political agenda as the Dáil resumes today following the Christmas break. The meeting held yesterday evening heard a range of views and concerns about migration becoming a divisive topic. A number of demonstrations have been held outside centres housing refugees and asylum seekers in recent weeks as the system has become stretched following a rise in arrivals. Some Fine Gael members told the meeting they wanted to see aspects of Irish immigration policy hardened up, with Carlo Kilkenny TD John Paul Phelan saying people who arrive and are suspected of having destroyed their papers en route should be deported immediately. I think most people might agree with that. You have to have really quite specific documentation to get it on an aeroplane or a ferry. And then once you are at arrivals, your documentation has disappeared. I don't think anyone thinks that's a good idea, that that should be allowed to happen, do they? 08660 25,000 or call 07491 25,000. Maybe some good news for our hospitals. The flu wave seems to have peaked, but cases still remain high for weeks, TDs and senators were told yesterday. It comes as HSE interim CEO Stephen Mulvaney admitted he cannot guarantee people have not died due to overcrowding and trolley numbers in hospitals. I really see pointless, and we saw it a lot over the last couple of years, where people in certain positions are asked to guarantee one thing or other. You simply cannot guarantee anything in this life. But joined by other senior HSE officials, he told the Oireachtas Health Committee influenza is kind of giving indications that it's peaked. It'll spend a number of weeks high before it starts going down fully. It'll still be high for a number of weeks. That will take us to the end of January and into February. But the sooner pressure is eased, the better. A lot of hospital workers working above and beyond really what they're contracted to do, and will be needing a break at some point because they're going to be completely burnt out otherwise. You know this, don't you? You're out shopping. You've seen the price of things go up, be it a loaf of bread, a carton of milk, a tin of beans. Well, Ireland's inflation soared last year, and higher prices are set to come soon. New stats from the CSO yesterday showed that the consumer price index rose by 8.2% between December 21 and December 2022. Now, it probably would have rose 3 or 4 in ordinary circumstances, so 8.2 is somewhat higher. Energy costs continue to rise, and there were steep hikes in food and drink. The cost of a loaf of bread was up 26 cents by the year end, and the price of 2 litres of full-fat milk rose by 57 cents. Irish cheddar up 1.51 per kilogram, and a pound of butter jumped by 71 cents. Spaghetti increased by 25 cents per 500 grams. And, you add that up in the basket and you get to the checkout. You can see how it's hitting us harder in the pocket. Meanwhile, the cost of a pint of stout was $5.20, up 26 cents, while a pint of lager was $5.73, up 42 cents. Less relevant to me now than it has ever been, but anyway, and I'm on about the price of drink. There you have it. That was the Star. And lastly, were you watching Match of the Day last night? There was some strange noises as Gary Lineker was introducing the Liverpool game coverage. The BBC's FA Cup coverage was hit by X-rated noises played loudly on air last night. People with a mobile phone and with certain people around them would be familiar with the noises because A lot of people have been caught out by this in the past. But Match of the Day host Gary Lineker was trying to bring in Alan Shearer for pre-match analysis of the Wolves versus Liverpool game when the moaning began. He told viewers, I don't know who's making that noise, but Alan Shearer's on the commentary gantry. I'm not sure if someone is sending something on somebody's phone. Lineker, 62, later joked at half-time Harvey Elliott's goal was a screamer, which is not the only one we've had tonight. The cause was later revealed to be a mobile phone which was taped to the back of a seat, or to the back of the set. The BBC apologised and said it was investigating. I don't buy that. I know my way around a mobile phone. Unless it was the ringtone, actually. Maybe, you know what? I've just cracked the case. Okay, if it was set as the ringtone, then it could have been triggered externally. I was going to say, normally those things happen via a message or a WhatsApp or something, but no, I suppose if they'd set the ringtone to that noise, then that would explain that. Right. 9:15 on the 9 till noon show, 086 60 25,000, WhatsApps and texts to that number, or give us a call on 07491 25,000. If we get any information as it relates to what's happening out and about there, we'll bring that to you. Of course, Lee, as always, doing a sterling job keeping the county moving, or at home, dependent on the noises delivering. But the news. But we'll keep you up to date on this show as well. Stay right where you are. There's some really interesting stuff coming up, and I don't want you to miss it.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
There's still time to experience the unmissable magic of winter in Dublin. Come celebrate our rich culture and heritage this January. Take to the heart of the city for Tradfest Temple Bar, from cosy pub sessions to intimate performances in historical hotspots. Or why not immerse yourself in art and culture at any of Dublin's free national museums? There's so much to see and do this January. Winter in Dublin, it's magic. Make your plans today at visitdublin.com. Brought to you by Fáilte Ireland.
You may think you know driving, but you don't know Nissan e-Power. An electric motor that brings you the performance and response on the road that you demand, charged by a petrol engine as you drive. The thrill and economy of electric driving without ever having to plug in. And it's exclusive to Nissan. Who said you have to plug in to drive electric? Find the drive you've been looking for with e-Power. Now available in the new Nissan Qashqai, a unique electrifying experience now unplugged. Nissan, innovation that excites.
Are you worried about trees on your property? Northwest Forestry Services Ballybuffet are fully insured and have over 40 years experience in dangerous tree removal, tree felling, surgery and stump grinding. For peace of mind, call Northwest Forest Services Ballybuffet for a no obligation quotation on 913233.
PDO Thread Lifts, the ultimate non-surgical lift for the skin, improving facial contours, lifting and tightening jowls, the neck, cheeks and eyebrows, are available at Genesis Aesthetics and Skincare Clinic Udor. For help choosing the right aesthetic treatment for you, contact Mary Ferry, your aesthetic practitioner. Also offering fat-dissolving treatments, dermal fillers and laser treatments for all skin conditions. Hair and makeup packages also available. Genesis Aesthetics and Skincare Clinic Udor, 07495 325 75.
The massive January sale is now on at Patterson's Kitchens, the Hall Lifford. Massive savings on kitchens, beds, sofas, dining sets and giftware, with up to 50% off selected mattresses. Hundreds of products in stock and ready for delivery or collection. Open Monday to Saturday 9 a.m. till 5:30 p.m. Get yourself down to Patterson's massive January sale. The newspapers are courtesy of Kelly Centra Mountaintop Letterkenny, the C-Store National Large Forecourt of the Year for 2022.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
All right, you're very welcome back to the programme. Now, if you travel through the Twin Towns, you will see, or you will have seen, that new high visibility crossings have been installed at 4 existing courtesy pedestrian crossings on the N15 in the Ballybuffet and Stranraer towns. These new road markings have been introduced in an urban setting to help improve driver awareness of pedestrians crossing movements. Now, a recent amendment to the road traffic regulations makes provision for the use of these new crossings, zebra crossings, without beacons, consisting of road markings only. Now, I don't understand why that happened, but anyway, we're going to try and tease that out now. I'm going to welcome Patrick McGowan onto the show first. Councillor Patrick McGowan. Good morning to you, Patrick. How are you keeping?
Good morning, Greg. Keeping the best.
Right, now, the council says that they have polled the public since the installation of the crossings, Donegal County Council has carried out a post-installation review survey. From the feedback received, the crossings appear to be well received by the community. I have yet to engage with anyone from the community that not only has received them well, but thinks they're a good idea at all. So do you know who the council was speaking to?
No, I do know at least on one occasion had someone that didn't walk well fenced in order, and they did ask general members of the public, and apparently, as you say, the feedback we got was that they got a very high positive rating on that, and that was sometime last year. I was actually speaking to someone that was interviewed about them, and that was the comment they made. Now, since that, and no more than yourself, we will be getting calls maybe twice a week from members of the public about these. I raised them at last September's meeting there. We got a response there, I think, in October there. It was on at the MD meeting about these and all the other countries and the public. Now, this came out of the blue yesterday. It was actually contacted by Highland Radio to say that about this press release, this statement that came out. I wasn't aware of it. I don't think any of the councillors were aware of it. And the first thing I had done, I was actually in Balfay and they're back around town to look for what changes had happened or signage, because it does say it's some high visibility crossings have been installed. Like I thought that they had actually just with the last few years had erected new warning lights or signs. I went back around and see that nothing had changed. Then we read the statement, and obviously it says sometime last year, last September, there was a new law passed in the department that now gives these zebra markings on the ground without the beacon lights, gives them the same status, so they're zebra crossings. The problem is they forgot to tell everybody about it. The public, the pedestrians don't know about it, and the drivers don't know about it.
Why introduce... I mean, obviously zebra crossings were established with beacons and well lit up for safety reasons, okay? So why for Ballybofey and Stranraer is it okay to have crossings that function as zebra crossings with no beacons or no lights? What is the advantage of them not being in any way marked or illuminated in advance?
I suppose the first thing here, this has come back. These have been rolled out apparently in a couple of towns across the country as pilot schemes last year. These are then very busy towns that have a problem. Now, they have a number of sets of lights and the 3 sets of traffic lights that now fenced in order. And as you, Greg, and everybody else knows, there's serious problems with tailbacks and that. So
Yeah, okay, that's frozen there. We'll get Patrick back. I want to bring Siobhan line. Siobhan, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm good. I think you share your particular concern as I do, and only as a motorist, and I'm not using this platform to push an agenda. It's just I genuinely have my concerns. The crossing at the bank seems particularly dangerous to me as a motorist. I don't know what your views are. Well, I'm reading your views. What's your opinion?
Yeah, it is. It's absolutely a ridiculous position for a crossing. It's very dangerous. It's just right there on a junction with 2 yellow boxes, an alleyway on one side, and if there's cars parked or vans or lorries parked, you cannot see clearly if somebody steps out from, say, the AIB side of the road if you're coming up the town, you know.
Mm-hmm. So if you're coming in from that road, you're glancing up to the right because the traffic's flying down in from the Donegal road. You're glancing for a break in the road to pull left, and in that moment,
if you're coming out of Glenfinn Street, it's particularly dangerous because, as you say, you are focusing on the traffic coming down, trying to get out into the line of traffic, and you pull out to go down the street, and you don't even pull out properly, and they're buying somebody's coming from the Bank of Ireland across the street in front of you. You know, it needs to be just removed completely, that particular crossing.
Yeah, and I presume there's quite a bit of traffic on it too, because people might be in the car using the car park across the road and then using that crossing to go to the bank or other businesses.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Now it is a bit of I suppose on both sides, both drivers and pedestrians, there would be a lot of non-local traffic coming up and down there, and they wouldn't know that crossing was there until you're upon it. Plus, there is a lot of people that just, and I know pedestrians do have right of way, but there's a lot of people that don't even look, they just walk straight out because it's a crossing, and if there is a car coming pretty close to them that may not know there's a crossing there, it's really just an accident waiting to happen.
And let's not forget yellow boxes. And
yellow boxes, yeah, and they're not being used properly at the best
well,
time.
they never have been. Whatever hope we've got of people
never.
using a zebra crossing correctly, I think we can give up on the yellow boxes at this stage.
Yeah,
but it just throws another. So. It throws another problem into the mix. That's at that corner, that junction.
It does. It's just whoever decided to put it in that position. I don't know what they were thinking. It's just ridiculous. Siobhan, it is an accident waiting to happen.
You've seen it almost happen.
Yes, twice. Actually, twice seen it almost happen. One wee lady, she was just so close to being knocked down.
I know, it's worrying. All right, Siobhan, listen, thank you for taking the call. I really appreciate it. Brian, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg.
Accident waiting to happen seems to be the buzzword for at least the bank crossing there. Whatever about the rest? Do you have worries about the rest of them, Brian?
I would have worried. There's two issues here. First of all, that in general, the zebra sort of markings were put on the road, but no signs, no beacons. But the one at the Bank of Ireland is particularly bad because you have two yellow boxes, you have a junction, and I have just seen so many near misses there. I was travelling along there myself, and somebody was coming along Glenflynn Street, a pedestrian, and they just walked straight across. So the pedestrian thinks they have the right of way. The motorist has to react, is watching for different things. They're looking for the yellow boxes, they're looking for movement of traffic. And people, and you'll see from the response to your post yesterday, people are not happy. People are seeing it as a danger. Like after they went in, I had to travel down the country and went through Limerick, different towns, and there was zebra crossing, pedestrian crossings, and there was lights, there were signs, it was a completely different ballgame. So, it's okay for us locals now. We're getting used to it. We're being cautious, but people travelling in from outside the county are they're going to be caught out, and there will be an accident.
And Brian, on the you see this, and we use the word accident, and I understand why you used it, but there's things contribute to things that make them not accidents. There's a cause and effect. I think the first time I drove through the Twin Towns when they were installed, someone was in dark clothing, and as I was approaching the crossing, they happened to be on the black part. And they believed they had right away. They were invisible, Brian. It was only as they stepped onto the white that I was able to see them. You know yourself, it was a dark, wet evening, windscreen wipers on, cars coming at you with their, the new LEDs and what have you. I simply could not see the person and just got a glimpse of them as they stepped onto the white part of the zebra crossing.
Yeah, this brings together a lot of safety issues. There's the safety of pedestrians walking and dark clothing. There's the safety issue of the motorists being observant, and then there's the safety issue of what has been laid here. Has it been properly safety studied? Is it following proper road design? Like the council put a post up yesterday and some extract from legislation, but we should stick to what is a standard zebra crossing, because who is right, who is wrong? It'll be a session in courts before it's actually realised what is right, and you'll see pedestrians are complaining that people aren't stopping. So everyone's going to be in the wrong until it's proven in courts that what led to the so-called accident.
Listen, I think across a public, generally speaking, in terms of motorists and pedestrians, I would say 5% could accurately across the country could accurately tell you how these are supposed to work in terms of who's got right of way and what have you. I don't personally, honestly, I don't think Ballybofey and Stranorlar and their local residents should be a testing ground for this until that knowledge is increased greatly. It seems very worrying to me. And you put a very simple question. Rather than us talking about how they feel unsafe, you want an engineer to explain how they're safe.
Well, exactly. Like, if there is a change in road design, well, then this needs to go across the whole country in terms of the RSA, and like it should be part of the test. Like, we're all used to what is the legislation, what is a safe pedestrian crossing, who has the right of way, etc., etc. In Balbafay, it's the main route from Galway to Derry. It's a national primary road. Of course, it's in the town, but it's not safe. The people are saying it's not safe. The local councillors are being complained to. The roads engineers are being complained to. So here you are in Highland Radio having to highlight it, and let's just sort it out. Let's do them away with them, or just put up a simple sign, at the location, pedestrian crossing, and
it has to be lit so that people. It has to be, and I also don't understand why some notification for pedestrians isn't a sign at these crossings for pedestrians. I don't understand why you would not try and empower people at least with information. Brian, thank you very much for taking the call. It's greatly appreciated. Councillor McGowan, so we're hearing a sample of it here. And also, too, you mentioned just before the line stuttered a little bit about how there's frustration in the Twin Towns and there's tailbacks and what have you. That is a strong argument for these being even more dangerous, in my view, because by the time you get past McElhenny's, right, the crossing at McElhenny's, and you're heading out the Donegal Road, you go, right, that's behind me. People put the foot down, whether they should or not. They put the foot down and they hit that bank corner. I just worry, Patrick. It's the only reason I'm talking about it, because I worry about it.
Yeah, look, and I have just an email, and all the councillors got one last week. We have residents in the Donegal Street. The problem in Balbafay is when you have a traffic jam, the traffic's slowing down, people are meandering on between. But you see, when it gets quiet there in the evening, especially when it gets dark, the cars, as you say, are flying on Donegal Street. Residents in Donegal Street are just fed up there that they can't get out their own houses. Now, what I did learn since this thing, as I say, this was raised in September and October at our MD. This is a national initiative, and the council's responding to it. Now, what I did learn was it's within the Act and the law that signs can be raised. So that is possible.
But even, I would just wonder, in other towns, Patrick, where they're being introduced, are there proper streetlights? The streetlights in Ballybuffet are very poor.
Yeah. That's on, again, we've said it's badly lit. There was an independent survey carried out about 2 years ago. They said they were okay, but in my opinion, if they are okay, they're at the very minimum. They're not. For the amount of traffic in the National Primary Road, they're substandard. But since that as well, too, I've spoken to the county manager, the CEO yesterday, John McLaughlin, and Brian Cannon, who's on your show yesterday morning, and they have both agreed now they are going to ask for a public consultation in the town to bring in to deal with, not just with these zebra crossings, to deal with the whole public access in the town. And that, and
I just hope, and I respect that, and we can talk about that, Patrick. I'm just worried that something's going to happen between now and then when you start grouping this in with a wider conversation, and it's very much needed, don't get me wrong. Stay where you are, Patrick. Alan, sorry for holding you, Alan. I want your views on this as well, please. Good morning.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm all right. Were you asked by the council what you thought of these?
No.
It was.
I suppose that's one of the things that I mentioned actually under your own post there recently was, this feedback that the council seemingly have to say that, it's been well received. And I haven't met anybody, as a resident of the town, I haven't met anybody that says that they're a good idea. I think the principle around it is fine in terms of, yes, people want to see pedestrian crossings. They do want safe crossing places and all the rest. That's okay and well taken. I don't think this is a motorist versus a pedestrian issue. What I do think is this was put in as a pilot. Whenever it was announced as a pilot, there was people on social media giving out about it. I didn't hear any positive feedback at that time. I still haven't heard any positive feedback. And I would be very, very interested to hear where this feedback came from, and if the council has that, could they maybe publish that? Because again, this was something that was kind of foisted on people very quickly. I'm not sure what thought was put into it. Just because there was a drop curb at a footpath doesn't necessarily mean it's a good place for pedestrian crossing.
Are we separating out the Bank of Ireland crossing from the rest of them in terms of?
Well,
because
in fairness, again, the one at the Bank of Ireland corner is the most problematic one because of the yellow boxes, because it's in a very busy junction. I'm on that every day. My parents live out the Glenfin Road. People will know that whenever you come in there, you're looking up the street to see what's coming down. If you can get out, you'll go, and it's right at the corner. Now, I've seen pedestrian crossings at corners in different towns around Ireland, and there doesn't seem to be an issue. The problem is there, or with that one, is there's no signage. There's no barriers to stop pedestrians. They just walk on out, and it's in your own hands, be it then after that. Now, there is one in Stranorlar. There's a couple in Stranorlar as well. The one at the supermarket is fine, and it's a good spot. The difficulty is, again, when you're travelling from Ballabafay over Stranorlar, you can't see anybody coming from the left-hand side.
Cars are blocking the line of sight.
There's parked cars are blocking the line of sight.
I agree.
So you need something to indicate to slow down or to stop, or some awareness, not only for the drivers.
Alan, do those crossings not normally encroach out into the road? So in other words, when you're stepping off the footpath, you're stepping off the footpath beyond a parked car. That makes sense. And the reason they intrude out into the road like that is so motorists can see the pedestrian stepping onto the zebra crossing. So why is it okay to roll the dice in Stranorlar and not have that feature, but it's not in Letterkenny, or it's not in Ballyshannon, or it's not in Sligo?
I don't know. I don't see why it's okay. I don't think it is okay. You know, I think the motorist needs to get some awareness that there's a crossing there to begin with. If there is a parked van there, and I've had to brake hard a couple of times. Not only in the Glenfin Street one at the Bank of Ireland, but also in the one in Stranorlar. And again, that's a busy one in Stranorlar, going to a busy shop over there. You know, so you do need something, not only just for the drivers, but also for pedestrians. Because again, pedestrians have this, you know, this opinion, well, sure, I can walk on out, and you have to stop no matter how hard you're going. You know,
now he does have the right of way. I mean, that's
no, I'm not disputing that. What I'm saying is, again, though, that there needs to be a cautious approach taken here, and to press the pause button. The road safety officer was on this morning on the news bulletin, and basically, you know, again, I'm really interested to see this feedback, because I'm on that every single day, and I've seen so many near misses. You know, now, I normally would have stopped anyway if I seen a pedestrian, an older pedestrian, or somebody with a... And
I would love to get a chat to Brian, and I've the height of respect for Brian, but he's the road safety officer. I hope he's actually stood and looked at the crossings. Do you know what I mean? Because, you know, to get an endorsement from a road safety officer to a project is very, very significant. And I hope Brian's been out there himself and stood at that corner and said, okay, right, do you know what? As the road safety officer, I believe this is safe. Or go down to the ones we're talking about by the supermarket and say, as the road safety officer, I've looked at this and I believe it's safe, rather than maybe taking engineers' words for it. I'm not saying he is, by the way. As I say, it's nothing but respect for Brian, but in that position, I hope he's done his own sort of visual assessment at the very least. Patrick, do you know if that's what happens? Sorry, Alan, just one second. Go ahead, Alan, go on.
Well, but basically, I mean, if this was rolled out as a pilot project, right? There obviously has to be some evaluation done of a pilot before it's enacted fully. You know, so what I'm interested in is to see, well, if they've done that, and this is a pilot, and they've done an evaluation, and they have the feedback, fine, publish that.
All right, thanks, Alan. I appreciate you taking the call. Good morning to you, Patrick. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know what that role entails, but presumably,
look, my understanding is that yes, they carried out. Someone walked the street from Stranorlar to Ballybofey, because I actually spoke to someone who met him, and they just interviewed people on the street, and they asked them were they aware of them and how did they find them. The report that came back that said that now, I can be corrected in this, but I think they said it was 90% positive. But look, I don't know, they weren't that long in at the time, but it's certainly, and I asked the CEO and yesterday, was that satisfactory? And they said no. They do believe there should be a bigger campaign around it. It is possible to erect signs. The one at the Bank of Ireland is obviously at the wrong place and needs to be moved. And it is possible to put these signs. But what they have said to me is, in order to do it right, and even though it's gone past now and they should have done it already, both the county manager and them will ask for a proper audit to be carried out and to bring road design people down and see if this satisfactory. Because
just back up to the one up in Stranola there, where there is a crossing at the supermarket there. You approach that. Now, the legislation would have the pedestrian to make sure there isn't a car coming or the car slowing, and for a car driver or lorry driver or whatever it is to ensure that they're checking that no one's crossing, or if someone's crossing. The lines of sites are blocked. How is that acceptable, Patrick, in your view?
As you did say earlier, and that was correct, within them locations, the footpath was widened out and the road was narrowed at them. They're at Andy's and Stonarder, and it's further down in Jack Ellers and Balfay. There's no parking there. The footpath's moved out, and then they come, as I say, last year, put these down. But no, nobody is aware of them. The pedestrians are not aware, and actually people are still crossing in between them anyway. So they obviously need a major campaign, and they also need to be signed. And within this act that was signed last year, it allows for signage. They'll simply need to put up proper either globes or round circular signs.
I mean, like, you know, the ridiculous situation of the one at the bank is if you're crossing, if you're a pedestrian crossing from the bank, what do you say to the sign? Look left, look right, look behind you, look in front of you. Like, I'm not being facetious, but, you know, in Donegal Town, they've got the courtesy crossings. They don't have the same, the pedestrians don't have right away, but it's like, look left, look right. At that crossing from the bank, it's look everywhere. You look over your shoulder, you look up the road, look across the road, look in the middle of the two yellow boxes. Anyway. Hey, Patrick.
I know what our first MD meeting after they were put up, that was raised immediately by all the councillors and asked for them to be moved. And now it's going on 7, 8, 9 months later, and we're still there. And we were as surprised as anybody else yesterday to hear this announcement. And I can speak for all the councillors, we don't accept it. And we have got the insurance now from senior management. Whatever the department in Dublin says, we want this reviewed and changed and signs put up. But first, we want public consultation, and we want these people to come down and tell us what they're at.
Yeah, and maybe walk the streets themselves on a cold, wet, wintry night and see if they want to roll those dice. Just before break, Jonathan, good morning to you. Thanks for taking the call. Your views on this as well? I mean,
good morning, Greg.
I'm more than happy to speak to anyone in favour of them. I've yet to identify that soul, but so we'll go with what we've got at the moment. Your soul, Jonathan. Go ahead.
Good morning, Greg, and belated Happy New Year to yourself and the family, and to Patrick there online as well. The bottom line is these pedestrian crossings, as they're so called, are not fit for purpose. I'll mention the ones to orders fine. It's not fine. Number one, if you're approaching, as somebody mentioned last night on your page, Greg, if you're approaching from the Millbrae exit and you stop at the junction, somebody at the pedestrian crossing thinks you're stopping to let them across. They proceed on across, you turn around and you're nearly on top of a pedestrian. You mentioned yourself, Greg, that when you take off from Acklehennies at the only official pedestrian crossing in the Twin Towns, you put down, you're getting into second or third gear. And within a few yards, we've seemed to have forgotten about this pedestrian crossing at the Garda Barracks. So you've slowed down once again, and the one at the bank corner, who in their right mind puts a pedestrian crossing between two yellow boxes? Now, Patrick says this is all going to be sorted, there's going to be new surveys, etc., etc.
Well, no, he's calling for it. I don't think you've committed to that, Patrick, have you? I mean, you know.
We've asked for it.
Oh, I know he's committed.
County manager.
Go on ahead, Jonathan.
Yeah, this takes time, and I just spoke to a member of the Chamber of Commerce before coming on to speak to yourself, and they said that this won't be sorted overnight. Well, I says a fatality can occur overnight as well. I mean, you approach from the Donegal Road most days, Greg, and if you see as you approach just at the second petrol station, there's the traffic calming measures with the yellow signs and the little arrows. Something as simple as that, as you approach those pedestrian crossings, would alert you to the fact that you're actually nearing a pedestrian crossing and that something's going to, that you need to slow down, basically.
Yeah.
But they don't serve the purpose. The public that were consulted in this must have been shoppers outside a certain shop in Balbafay there for the day, or certainly
well, that's
were
a fine
not
zebra. I mean, that's a fine zebra crossing. And as I say, there's a couple of things I would like to know. I would like to know if there was an assessment by road safety officer of these crossings, and also the nature of the survey. How many people were asked? Patrick, you seem to...
You mentioned...
Yeah, go ahead.
At night time, sorry for interrupting, Greg,
No.
you mentioned at night, coming through when it's dark, it's almost impossible to see anybody except with the one at the barracks because they've extra lights. The lighting itself in the Twin Towns is a disgrace. That, along with, and I know I'm sidetracking slightly, Greg, but would you believe it? Maybe you wouldn't, but I'm sure Patrick's fully aware that Stranraer as a town has not one disabled parking spot. I know I'm sidetracking, but it's food for thought. There's 9 premises, and not one of them has a disabled parking spot outside of it. That's not your issue of the day, and they are.
Well, we could do another show on that. There's 2 in Donegal town.
Yes.
On the actual diamond of the town, 2, I believe. There was
But
one
the
for a long
issue
time.
that
but anyway.
what you're concerned with at the minute are the so-called pedestrian crossings.
Well, they are
Number
pedestrian
one, they're
crossings.
not fit for purpose. Yeah, there is going to be somebody knocked down. Then they'll be changed overnight, and in the meantime, it's just a complete accident waiting. And the design of them and who designed them and put them where they are, bigger life.
There are cases recently whereby a person can step out in front of a vehicle, or a vehicle can, in other words, what the point I'm trying to say is there doesn't have to be an awful lot of speed involved for a pedestrian to come off very badly against a lorry, a tractor and trailer trying to come down Donegal roads to slow down. It's anyway, Jonathan, thanks for coming on. Stay with me, Patrick, if you don't mind. I have to take a quick break.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
At Holland & Barrett this new year, you can buy one, get one free on hundreds of your wellness favourites. Mix and match across the vitamins you need, including many top brands you love like Star Power and Viviscal. Plus get even more with free personalised advice from one of our qualified advisors, so you can find the right wellness solutions for you. Don't miss out. Shop our buy one, get one free in-store online now. Holland & Barrett. Wellness that's worth it. Ends 31st of January 2023. Selected lines only. Cheapest item free. See our website for full T's and C's.
A public interest message from Donegal County Council. If you're having waste removed, always use a permitted waste collector. If your waste ends up in the wrong place, you are responsible. We all have our part to play in protecting our environment. Our waste, our responsibility. Visit mywaste.ie or nwcpo.ie for a list of permitted waste collectors. Donegal County Council. Protecting your environment.
Callahan's Gala and Go Burt, your one-stop family shop. Drive into our newly renovated spacious forecourt. Fill up at our upgraded modern fuel pumps and save with our keen Go Fuel prices. Located on the main Letterkenny to Derry Road, we're the ideal pit stop on your Donegal journey. Fast flow fuel, self-service or attended with a smile.
Sure, it's all go at Callahan's.
Banking can make you feel a bit. So why not switch to a provider that helps you take control of your finances? The OnPost Money current account lets you see exactly what's going on with your money and gives you control with the tap of a button. Switch with the OnPost Money app or pop into one of our 900 plus post offices. You don't even need to make an appointment. Take back power over your money today. OnPost is authorised by the Minister for Finance to provide payment services and is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland in the provision of such services.
Okay.
The Clanry Hotel presents Nathan Carter in concert this Friday 20th. Doors open at 7, show starts at 8 p.m. Tickets are €30 each and available from the hotel reception. That's Nathan Carter in concert this Friday night at the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny.
Sounds like a good night. Cahill, good morning to you. Your views on this, please. Not Nathan Carter now, by the way. Your views on the crossings in Ballybofey.
Well, I use them regularly, and I think they're a good thing. The other thing I was wondering is, everybody has been on this morning. Are they drivers or pedestrians?
Very good
I know
question.
You can be both. Yes. Because all this now about shared space. And shared spaces, because that one at the Bank of Ireland, that's a very busy spot for both pedestrians and drivers. And there's banks there, there's chemists there, there's other shops there. And could instead of giving out about it, is there a spot in that area that they would consider safer? And the other question is, Councillor McGowan there, surely that was discussed at meetings. Somebody just didn't say, oh yeah, we'll put that there. Surely.
I'm not really... I think the way the local government works is that's precisely probably what happened, Cathal. I'm not sure how much councillors are consulted in advance, but I think you raise a very good point. Are we today talking about pedestrians, or are we talking to motorists? The only thing I would say, Cathal, and we can have aspirations of respecting each other and the shared space, but unfortunately the reality is, Cathal, that we can't trust us to do that, and that's why we need flashing lights and bells and whistles and beacons and stuff, Cathal. Do you know what I mean? I think that's the problem here.
But my fear is that now there's all this talk about we have to have discussion. Those things disappear. I'm of an age now where it takes a bit longer to get across the road,
mm-hmm.
and I feel that there's a lot of ground given to. I am a car driver, to car drivers. So I think as from the outset of them being put down, I notice now that drivers are more aware of them. Okay. And it'll take time for them because it has to get into their mindset. And people are saying people come from here, there and everywhere. They have to go through the town. It soon gets known that these things are in the town and people will start. Okay, whatever about the lights, that would make it even better. But I wouldn't like them to disappear in the meantime.
Yes, I get
because it makes it very, very easy
Have you had any close shaves, Cathal, or if they always work perfectly safe for you?
They've always worked perfectly close because I'm observant.
Mm-hmm.
I realise that you have to give the driver a little bit of time, like the ad on the TV shows,
yes,
for the driver to see you. No, I would hate that they would disappear. And
right, okay, I get you, Cathal. So let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Okay, Cathal, listen, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate your time this morning as well, Councillor McGowan. A very good question. Who was asked? Are we talking to pedestrians or are we talking to motorists? I suspect we're talking to a combination of both, but I think Cathal's made some very, very fine points there. And he, in the big furore, if we were to take a knee-jerk reaction to this kind of a conversation, would hate to see them gone. So
I think I can answer that question, Cathal. The people that you're interviewing this morning, I know them all very well. They're all local people, and they're both. You see them walking every day in the town, shopping or doing the, and they also drivers. So they are genuine, and all the, I would say 99, all of the comments that you're getting on the Facebook as well, like they are genuine. I'm getting the exact same ones as the other, like Harley and the other countries. We are getting it. As I say, it's very, very important that people are able to cross the road, because there has been quite a few people knocked down in the town at different times. But we need to get it right. This has not been done right. It seemed to be a total lack of communication from the department to the council.
Were you consulted in advance, actually? It's another question Cathal asked. Surely this came up at a meeting and you local reps were able to have their say.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you how that happened, and you pointed it out earlier yourself. You see where the road has been narrowed, and you have these outshots from the footpath within Ballyfane. So they were done about 5 or 6 years ago. We were told they'd been put there. The concern at the time was they were outside businesses. Businesses were losing parking spots, and they were there. But we felt they were good enough, and they were brought, and we were told they were going ahead.
Yeah.
This is the National Roads Authority. They have the final say.
Yeah.
And the same with these. We were told that they were bringing in some kind of pedestrian or zebra crossings, and lo and behold, it turned up. We asked the next day, where's the lights? Then we were told afterwards, there ain't no lights. This is a new pilot scheme. And we're sitting now 7, 8, 9 months, and we're asking for the lights. We have all asked immediately for the lights to be moved.
Okay.
So we're the same concerns as the public, and we are asking that not just to get rid of them, but they're going to have to provide proper advance warning signs and something that's safe for everybody.
Give everyone a fair crack at the whip and keeping everybody safe. Take care of yourself. Councillor Patrick McGowan there. Okay, listen, thanks to all of you for getting involved in that conversation.
Broadcasting throughout the Northwest and across the world online. This is Highland Radio.
Your
Your voice, your station. Highland Radio.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
The world awaits you. Make that dream your next adventure. Cruise the Caribbean. Sail from Crete to Corsica. Soak in Santorini sunsets. Dine on the shores of the Indian Ocean. Stroll through cobbled streets for hidden gems, or bring the little ones to a magical wonderland. Trust the award-winning Atlantic Travel to guide your next adventure. Step through our doorway to the world. Atlantic Travel, Letterkenny.
Do you suffer from high cholesterol, menopause symptoms, digestive issues, anxiety, aches and pains, or a lack of energy? The highly trained team at The Natural Way Letterkenny can provide advice on natural remedies for a number of individual health issues. The Natural Way also has its own brand of herbal treatments to help fight fatigue, relieve digestive discomfort, maintain a healthy immune system, and alleviate common menopause symptoms. The Natural Way at Letterkenny Shopping Centre, your one-stop health shop.
Green Shoes' big winter sale is now on with massive reductions. Up to 50% off across your favourite brands, including Echo, Tommy Bow, Kate Appleby, Una Healy and many more. Green Shoes at Market Square, Letterkenny Shopping Centre and in Fulcara. Or shop online at greenshoes.com.
Are you a Leaving Cert student that is looking at your options for 2023?
Or are you interested in upskilling and progressing in your career with a postgraduate degree or Springboard funded course?
Come along to ATU Donegal's open evening on Wednesday, 18th of January from 4 to 7 p.m. in our Letterkenny campus.
Talk to us about our part-time, flexible postgraduate programs and find out all you need to know about eligibility and funding available through Springboard.
And learn more about our 20 brand new CAO programs that will be available this year.
ATU Donegal's open evening, Wednesday, 18th of January from 4 to 7 p.m.
See you there.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport. Thinking of a sun holiday this summer with the family? Fly to Alicante, Malaga, Faro, Lanzarote, Mallorca and Milan with Ryanair. Ireland West Airport. Don't just take off, take it easy.
All right, what I'll do is give you the weather alert from Taryn. Staying cold in Donegal until Friday with sharp to severe frosts and icy stretches on roads and footpaths. Some showers of hail, sleet and snow are expected with potential for freezing fog. So that's over the course of the next couple of days. All right, we do have to take another break just ahead of the news. Let me see how long it is. Yes, there it is. Just to remind you that you can get involved in the conversation, 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000, or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. Some of your comments coming in. Ballybofey crossing, a total nightmare for drivers. Another, we're now in 2023 and we're still driving through two towns in Ballybofey and Stranola. Time for the bypass. Well, we could do the next 2 hours on the bypass, I think. When you're standing at a crossing, and I'm talking about the ones with the two yellow boxes, we have a few new ones in our town. The drivers know you're waiting to stop, but 20 or more cars could pass before one decent person would stop. I was told it's a law that they're not obliged to stop. Is this right? I'm not sure of the question. You can't stop in a yellow box. I know that for a fact. All right, back after the news and obituary notices.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Now offering MyCU current account and debit MasterCard, bringing full banking features, delivered with the same local trustworthy service of your credit union.
Fantastic offers this January at Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms. Free boiling water tap with all kitchens booked. 10% off selected wardrobe ranges and much more. Book your free design appointment in our Donegal Town showroom today by calling Cherrymore on 074 97 25 822.
Aoife, I only went and did it.
Stop.
Unlimited data calls and texts.
Go away.
And the first month is free when you switch.
Stop the light.
No contract.
Would you beware?
You'll never guess how much. €18.
No way.
At €18 a month for unlimited data calls and texts, it's almost too good to be true. Switch today to your local post office or at onpost.com/mobile. OnPost Mobile, for your world. Fair usage and T's and C's apply. Auto top up €18 for 31 days unlimited allowance, otherwise 28 days. See website for details.
Suites.
See the great new collection of Aqua Clean suites now at McGinley's Furniture in Letterkenny. Aqua Clean is a unique fabric treatment that allows you to clean stains using only water, and these Irish-made suites can be made to measure. Also see McGinley's huge range of corner groups, recliners and leather suites. Transform your house into the home of your dreams at McGinley's Furniture on the Joe Boner Link Road, Letterkenny, and at mcginleysfurniture.com.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why. The Lotto jackpot is an estimated €3 million. Play responsibly in store, in app, or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
My New Year's resolution is to be nicer to myself and treat myself to a new car from iMotors. With every size vehicle and engine type available, you'd be mad to not treat yourself. There's petrol, diesel, hybrid and electric. We have it all. Call in today or visit imotors.ie.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the Highland Radio News Desk. Met Éireann has issued a new status yellow advisory warning for Donegal until Friday. The forecaster says it will stay cold until Friday afternoon with sharp to severe frosts and icy stretches on roads and footpaths. More showers of hail, sleet and snow are expected, once again with the potential for freezing fog. Motorists are being urged to exercise extreme caution while on the roads during the cold spell. The Health Minister says it's likely we're past the worst of the winter flu season. Stephen Donnelly says early indications show cases of RSV and COVID-19 are also starting to steadily decline. There were 17 patients with COVID-19 being treated at Letterkenny University Hospital last night. That compares to 28 on Tuesday of last week and 43 the Tuesday before that. Speaking ahead of today's Cabinet meeting, Minister Donnelly says the reduction will hopefully ease pressure on the hospital system in the weeks ahead.
The indications for now are that we probably are past the peak. We know RSV has been declining steadily for several weeks now. COVID has been coming down. The number of patients in hospital with COVID has been coming down steadily. But the early indications are hopefully that we have passed the peak. And the question now is how quickly will it come down?
Senior HSE officials in the region are to meet with North West Oireachtas members and Regional Health Forum members on Friday to discuss the future of Nowdoc. Confirmation of the meeting comes as Donegal County Council prepares to write to the HSE seeking clarification on the service's future. Councillor Donald Coyle told a meeting of Letterkenny Municipal District this week it's important the clarification is given on the status of the Letterkenny base and also the satellite units in Carndonagh, Derrybeg and Mount Charles. He says a lot of employees of the HSE who work with Nowdoc also need confirmation as to their future status. Councillor Coyle says the Nowdoc service is taking a lot of pressure off Letterkenny University Hospital and any diminution of its services could have a serious knock-on effect on the hospital itself.
Without Nowdoc, I don't know what would be happening in Letterkenny now, because the service that they provide, and I know, like I've been stated in there at the meeting, that there's a lot of tweaking to be done in the service, but I do believe that it's a fantastic service, and it is certainly relieving the pressure on the hospital.
A helicopter has crashed near a nursery school in Ukraine, killing 18 people, including the country's interior minister and 3 children. Police say the aircraft came down in a Kyiv suburb. 15 children are among 29 others who were injured. It's not clear what caused the crash. Officials made no reference to any Russian attack in the area at the time. The Garda Commissioner is urging people who may be the subject of intimidation for so-called drug debts in Donegal to contact Gardaí. Speaking during a visit to the county on Monday, Drew Harris said he's concerned over the number of incidents of intimidation of people and their families. Donegal's Chief Superintendent Aidan Dlacken, speaking at the recent meeting of the Donegal JPC, confirmed an operation targeting the sale and supply of drugs in the county in recent months in Letterkenny and Buncrana resulted in a significant number of arrests. Garda Commissioner Drew Harris warned of the dangers that drugs pose.
It is a priority. Enforcement takes us so far, but there's certainly a piece about people looking after their own health and being educated as to the risks they're taking. There is no quality control on cocaine. There's no such thing as fair trade cocaine. You are buying something which has been produced through slave labour and through violence and intimidation and murder in other parts of the world, which then happens here as well.
There are concerns the new pensions auto-enrolment scheme could widen the pension gender pay gap. Irish Life and the Pensions Authority will appear before the Joint Oireachtas Social Protection Committee today. The plan, due to come into effect in 2024, will see workers automatically signed up to a scheme where for every €3 they save, their employer will match their contribution and the state will contribute €1. The Pensions Authority will urge the government to introduce pension auto-enrolment as soon as possible. Irish Life will tell the committee the plan will put women in a worse position than those within existing workplace pension schemes. The committee's chair, Dennis Naughton, says TDs and senators have worries over who will run the scheme.
Many members of the committee feel that this should be run and controlled by the National Treasury Management Agency or a similar agency within government that is managing substantial funds for the state rather than going out to the private sector.
Weather forecast, and today will be cold with sunny spells and scattered showers of rain, sleet and snow. Top temperatures today 2 to 5 degrees Celsius in a moderate to fresh west to northwest wind. And just to remind you again that the Met Éireann have issued a new status yellow advisory for Donegal. It lasts until Friday, warning of further hail, sleet and snow showers up to Friday. Motorists again being urged to exercise extreme caution while on the roads. Freezing fog also set to be a factor. We're back with news headlines again at 11 o'clock. Until then, from the news team, good morning.
Obituary notices for Wednesday morning, January 18th. The death has taken place of Josie Diver, Tierna League, Karen Dunna. Removal from the Eternal Light Chapel of Rest Mountain Top, Letterkenny today at 5:30 p.m, going to her sister Margaret's home at Tierna League, Karen Dunna. Funeral leaving there on Friday at 10:15 a.m. to the Church of the Sacred Heart, Carndunna, for Requiem Mass at 11 a.m. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. House private tonight. Family flowers only. Donations in lieu of flowers to ICU and Letterkenny University Hospital, care of any family member. The death has taken place of Edward McMonigal, Golan, Mulford and latterly of Terman. Funeral Mass in St Bridget's Church, Golan at 11 a.m. on Friday, followed by interment in Mulford Cemetery. The house is strictly private, please. The death has occurred of Anne Kelly, Nee McHugh, 3 St Vincent's Close, Balbafay, and formerly of Mean Glass. Remains reposing at her late residence this evening from 5 p.m. Funeral leaving from there on Friday at 10:30 a.m. for Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church, Sesha O'Neill at 11 a.m. Interment afterwards in the adjoining churchyard. The Requiem Mass will be streamed live via the parish Facebook page. Donations in lieu of flowers to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member. Family time from 9 p.m. to 11 a.m. The death has occurred of Patrick Carlin, formerly of Leitrim, Bogay, Newtown Cunningham, and Clunamahan Intellectual and Disability Service, County Sligo. Patrick will be reposing at his sister Ursula Carlin's residence, 20 Greenhill Manor, Cunningham, from 3 p.m. this afternoon and tomorrow from 11 a.m. Funeral leaving his sister's residence on Friday morning at 10:20 a.m, going to St Bathans Church, St Johnson, for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. The death has occurred of Seamus McCaig, 1 Ashlawn, Letterkenny, formerly Tor Head, County Antrim, reposing at the Eternal Light Chapel of Rest Mountain Top, Letterkenny, from 3:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. this afternoon, concluding with removal to the Church of the Irish Martyrs, Ballyreen, Letterkenny, for reception prayers at 5 p.m. Reposing overnight for 11 a.m. Requiem Mass tomorrow, which can be viewed online at the Church of the Irish Martyrs YouTube channel, followed by interment in the family plot in Conwall Cemetery. Family flowers only, please. Donations, if wished, to the Friends of Letterkenny University Hospital, care of Pascal Blake, Funeral Director. The death has taken place of Paddy McShane, 5 Ballycoleman Estate, Strabane, and formerly of Burndennett. Remains reposing at his son Joe McShane's home, 114 Berry Hill Road, Arty Garvin, Strabane. Funeral leaving his son's home tomorrow morning at 10:20 a.m. for Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church Clough at 11 a.m. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family time please from 11 p.m. to 11 a.m. The death has taken place of Eddie McLaughlin, 45, Carrigullen Road, Strabane, and formerly of Legford Drum. Remains are posing at his home. Funeral leaving his home tomorrow afternoon at 12:15 p.m. for Requiem Mass in the Church of the Immaculate Conception, Strabane at 1 p.m. Interment afterwards in Strabane Cemetery. Donations in lieu of flowers please to the Foyle Hospice, care of Quigley Funeral Directors. Family time please from 11 p.m. to 11 a.m. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. The death has occurred of Mary McDevitt, née McCole, 99, Ard Patrick Glenties, formerly Nairn Portnew. Mary's remains will repose at her residence today from 11 a.m. until 4 p.m. and from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Removal to St Connell's Church, Glenties tomorrow morning for Requiem Mass at 11 a.m. with interment afterwards in the local cemetery. House private on the morning of the funeral. Funeral Mass can be viewed live on churchservices.tv. The death has taken place of John Carter, Willow Grove, Buncrana, formerly of Ballynahone, Fawn. His remains are reposing at his brother and sister-in-law, Tony and Phyllis Carter's residence, 46 Crana View. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10:15 a.m. going to St Maurice Church, Fawn for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family time please from 10 p.m. until 10 a.m. The death has taken place of Philomena McGinty, Garva, Barnesmore, Donegal Town. Reposing at her home in Garva with Rosary tonight at 9 p.m. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. to St Agatha's Church, Clare for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family flowers only please. Donations in lieu to the oncology unit at Letterkenny University Hospital or cancer research. Family time on the morning of the funeral please. The death has taken place of Bridget Morrow, Letterbrick, Cloughan. Funeral from her home in Letterbrick this afternoon for 1 p.m. Requiem Mass in the Church of Our Lady of Perpetual Succour, Glenfin, followed by burial in the family plot in Kilta Vogue Cemetery. Family flowers only with donations in lieu if desired to the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland or Cloughan Health Centre. The death has occurred of Annie Patton, Castlebean, Stranorlar. Her remains are reposing at her late residence. Funeral leaving her late residence tomorrow afternoon at 12:15 p.m. for Requiem Mass in St Patrick's Church, Crossroads, Killygordon at 1 p.m. Interment afterwards in the adjoining churchyard. The Requiem Mass will be streamed live on St Patrick's Church, Crossroads, Killygordon YouTube channel. Family time from 9 p.m. until 12 noon each day and on the morning of the funeral. And the death has occurred of Samuel Derek Fleming, Gortley, Letterkenny. Derek's service of Thanksgiving will take place in Trinity Presbyterian Church, Main Street, Letterkenny this afternoon at 1:30 p.m, followed by burial in the family plot at Gortley Cemetery. The service can be viewed on Trinity Presbyterian Church Facebook page. Family flowers only please. Donations if wished to the Donegal Hospice, care of Pascal Blake, Funeral Director. For more details, including any family health guidelines for wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Taking time out to visit a healthcare professional isn't always convenient. That's why at Irish Life Health, we visit you. With My Clinic, our members get virtual access to back and neck physiotherapy, professional counselling, unlimited GP consultations and more. Search Irish Life Health. A better life with Irish Life Health. Services available where covered on your plan and clinically appropriate. Professional counselling available to age 16 plus. Back and neck physio to age 18 plus. Irish Life Health Act is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Terms and conditions apply.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Wednesday, the 18th of January. You're playing on the blue sheet. The reference number is S13. It's game number 3. The numbers are 67, 19, 29, 48, 45, 41, 85, 17, 25, and finally 68. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Achieve your fitness goals this year with the latest arrivals at Michael Murphy Sports and Leisure. Beat your personal best with new trainers from Asics, Brooks and New Balance. Or gear up for the gym with activewear from Under Armour and Adidas. In store and online now with free next day delivery on orders over €85 at michaelmurphysports.ie.
Stylish nights and memorable delights await at radsligo.com with their fantastic January sale. Escape it all with 25% off B&B stays and enjoy a well-deserved breakaway. Indulge in afternoon tea overlooking Sligo Bay, relax with a treatment at the spa, enjoy a delicious meal in the Brasserie and Waves Bar, or surround yourself with the best of Sligo's outdoor pursuits right on your doorstep. 25% off sale ends 31st of January. Book now at radsligo.com.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show after the break. We're joined in studio by Colin Kilpatrick now. Colin, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for calling in.
Morning, Greg.
It's good to have you with us. Now, Trucking for Creasla will take place on Saturday, February 4th, meeting at Bernard Long and Sons Transporter Yard in Ballybofey at 1 p.m. sharp. And we'll talk more about that and how you can register your lorry and everything else that's coming up as well. This is the new bank holiday you told me just before we came on air, isn't it?
That's right,
Okay.
yeah.
So it's a nice long weekend for people.
Yeah.
Right, Colin, I mean, you know, obviously... lots of people want as much as they can to do events or what have you to support Creasla, the people of Creasla following the awful tragedy. But this is something that's particularly close to you, Colin, isn't it?
Very, very close to my heart, yeah.
So you were one of the first on the scene on that day of the tragedy.
I was, yeah.
How clear is it in your mind, or what do you remember of?
No, it's there. I can see everything. Like it's still very clear. It's very raw.
You were delivering in the area at the time of the explosion, so you witnessed the explosion.
I did. I was just across the road there in the homeland, so it's not that far away.
And obviously, it became clear very quickly that this was a very serious incident.
Yeah. First of all, I thought it was a tyre or something on the lorry, but. Just looked up and seen what happened.
Yeah, and we're not going to focus too much on that, but I also want people to recognise that, you didn't hop in the lorry and go on about your business. You went straight into action to try and save people, to rescue people.
I did, yeah. Well, I ran up to see what was happening, and it just had never ended from there. I was there right through to the end.
So you helped people as much as you could escape the rubble, and then you took on a role of driving then as well. What
That's
were you
right. The guys at Mucky sent up lorries to take away the rubble, and I would know that family. That'd be the only family I would have known in Creasla, and it just happened. I jumped onto one of the lorries, took it around the back, and we were asked then by the firemen, could we stay on? They needed help, and it ended up through the night. I drove that lorry then.
And that was that was just a solid 24 hours for you.
It was, when I got back into my own lorry, it was 23 hours and 56 minutes. I can remember that on the time. So it was 24 hours.
And it so quickly became clear that this was a horrific tragedy.
Oh yeah, straight away. You were taking it step by step and doing as much as you can. I suppose maybe half an hour on it, you realised how severe it was.
And because it was of our local community, we sometimes see these things on TV or you read about them in a newspaper or what have you. But this was our local community. It was local people affected for the most part, and the people waiting on news in the local area. It It was just, it was an amazing response from the likes of yourselves and others in the emergency services, but it was also just unbelievably raw and real, seeing people going through that awful process of waiting on news or finding out news or...
Yeah, like, there was people there, as I say, I'm not from the area, but you realised a few years in that was actually the families, and, you know, that was tough to know that the families were there and they were waiting. That would have been the hardest part, like, you know.
Yeah. So with everything that you've witnessed, for everything that you did, and I'm sure the people of Creasla and all those affected, not just from Creasla, impacted by this, are so grateful to you and all the others, because early on, Colin, you know, it wasn't clear how safe what you were doing was either. We should never forget that, of course, because this was a petrol station, so there was an element of risk in you trying to help getting people out of there.
That was the fear, like, you know, it was in my mind about the petrol, and only then, later, you realise how safe under the ground the petrol tanks are, but at that time I didn't know, I had no idea. That was a fear, like.
Do you ever ask, like, what was it in it, what was in you? I don't know if you've ever you had to respond to anything even remotely like this in the past, but do you know what sort of kicked in you that sort of made you, you know, run to the scene rather than run from it, that gave you the energy to work as you did for the next 24 hours?
Well, maybe when you're on the road you see accidents and things like that, and you would see different things, but I would say maybe it's being a father would have been the thing that made me rush into it, you know.
Just imagine if it was one of yours.
Well, this is it, like, you know, and you know that if it was the other way about, it would be the same. You would get, you know, if it was your child in there, that somebody would help as well, like.
Now, when did you decide that you wanted to do the trucking for Creasla event?
Soon after it, the man I work for, Bernard, we spoke about it, and because we're highly involved in lorries, you know, lorries, a run was a kind of an idea that came up first, and we said we'll let it sit till after Christmas, you know, it was as early, like, too soon, but it wasn't long after the whole thing we did speak about it, and he's behind me 100%, he's helping.
That's Bernard Long and Sons Transporters.
Bernard Long and Son Transport, yeah.
Right, okay, so then you start to put these things together, and did you realise there was going to be as much work and organisation in it as often that turns out to be, I wonder, Colin?
I didn't think too much about it. The work and the effort's not a problem. I'm just overwhelmed by the support. We're holding an auction, you see, and there's some great stuff donated straight away without a question. Like the lorry men, you ring a lorry man, you tell them the story. Bernard would ring and tell me the story, why we're doing it, and whatever you want, you'll get.
I mean, there's over 70 lorries already registered.
There would be 100 now at the minute.
Really?
There
okay,
would be,
so that's huge. So anyone out there with a lorry, it's €30 to register per lorry, and the procession takes off from the Bernard Long and Sons Transporter Yard in Ballybofey. It's at 1 p.m. sharp on February the 4th, isn't it? How do people register their lorries before we talk about what else is happening?
Well, you can just land on the day. There will be somebody there to take the money off you. So you can ring me if you want. You can let me know just so we have an idea what's coming. As well, any business that has a lorry, it doesn't have to be, you know, a big lorry, an Arctic lorry. It could be a small lorry.
Yeah.
You know, we're getting them as well. So just land on it. Like, people from Letterkenny, surrounding areas, can go to the Applegreen instead of going to Ballybofey, because we are making the run to Creasla to get Creasla involved, and we didn't want to ask everybody to come as far as...
So you can pick people up on the way to save them doubling back on themselves.
Exactly, and Applegreen, you know, they're more than helpful, and whatever we want we'll get, you know, and they're going to be there on the day to extra staff, and the parking and Applegreen will be there as well, like, so there's no problem coming to Letterkenny if you want as well.
Right, so for those who want to join in Ballybofey, it's at on Saturday, February the 4th. It's a meeting at the Bernard Long and Sons Transporter Yard in Ballybofey at 1 p.m. Sharp. You can register on the day. Following registration, Colin, who's with us here, will lead the parade of trucks to Creasla. before they make their way back to the Silver Tassie Hotel for an auction, followed by a dance. We'll talk about the dance in a second. What kind of stuff has been donated for the auction?
A lot of great stuff. We have rally experiences. We have, what else? We have tools, compressors, model lorries, coal, oil. We've got sheep. I've got a lamb. I got a text yesterday. I have a lamb here for you. Hay, straw. You know, there's something for everybody there. There's a lot of stuff, new tyres, things for lorry men. There's stuff for farmers. There's going to be like weekends away for the, you know, you don't have to be a lorry driver or a farmer as well. The weekends away can suit anybody. There will be something for everybody.
Were you surprised at the generosity of people?
Overwhelmed, unreal. Just like an ordinary man that drives a lorry, give me a hay bob, you know, and that's worth a lot of money. Like, that's yours.
Brilliant. Okay. Now that auction is, as we mentioned there, in the Silver Tassie. Then there is a dance, and tickets are €15. Doors open at 7 p.m. Tony Morning's doing the auctioneering on the night, by the way. I should have mentioned. You've mentioned some of the stuff that's there. That's going to be all done and dusted, and then there's a great night of entertainment. The David Craig Band, hugely popular, no doubt about that. And he's some operator actually, DJ Tubbsy. Yeah. He'll be providing the entertainment alongside some other special guests as well. So there's more surprises to be added on the night.
There's Ronan McGinty. He's Balbuffet, local fella, very good country singer. He'll probably be kicking it off for us. Chelsea Evans will be there. Myra McGinley. These are all great singers. And Sasha, Myra's daughter, as well. So all great singers and local people, and it's great to have them involved as well.
I think the question really is, Colin, how are you going to pack all this into Saturday the 4th? It's a lot.
From 1 o'clock to hopefully 2 o'clock in the morning, it'll be all go.
Yeah. This has been good for you, this process as well, Colin, I'd imagine, because, you know, you've been through it, and I know I can get the sense off of you, the type that you're not going to in any way say this is about you, that this is about those who lost loved ones, those were were injured by it, but it is the likes of you and dozens of others that have a very important part in this whole tragedy.
Yeah, well, anybody that was there, we would all have a special bond. You know, even I'm in contact with some of the families. You have a bond. This is a big help for me as well, surely. It's not about me, it's about the families, but it is helping me. It's something to look forward to, and it's keeping everything going, you know.
Okay. Right. So do you want people to contact you and register in advance, or are you at the point now of saying turn up on the day? I think if people are joining in the likes of, as you mentioned, along the route, you know, maybe Letterkenny based drivers or Drumkeen or wherever it might be, that will want to pick up on the tail of this as it makes its way to Creasler, do you want them to contact you in advance, Colin?
Well, it would be better. We're getting great support by the guards. We're going to be, you know, they're going to be there and they're going to do the traffic, and it will have to be sharp, so we need to be on time. So if they could contact me and we get a number. The auction as well, it's a public auction, so anybody that wants to come, you know, it'll be good fun. There'll be good stuff there to buy, you know, and the dance, everything's public. Like, it's not just for the truckers.
Exactly, and that's it. I mean, obviously, this has a trucker agricultural feel to it, because, you know, that's your background. That's where you're pulling in the assistance. But this. Not you say anyone with a truck can get involved regardless of size or body size, but in terms of the auction itself in the Silver Tassie and the dance and the music on that night, that's open to anyone who wants to have a good night's crack and also support the Creasler Fund.
Yeah, the families, it's for the families. The families are more than welcome to come too. It's for them. Plus, that's another thing I meant to say. Just if the routes we're going on, if people want to stand out and watch it,
that's going to happen.
And
no doubt
support
about
it.
That, yeah.
That's what we want.
Yeah.
And if somebody feels like they can't go to the dance because it's too early, if they want to stand out and watch it, we're bringing it to Creasler to get Creasler involved. You know, there's families in Dunfanny, Letterkenny, we can't just go everywhere, but we're trying to get where it happened, and because I was there, and just trying to get the Creasla part of it involved, and like there never would have been a truck run through Creasla, and I think it's going to be very special, to see it going through.
I think it's going to be something else, and you know yourself, Colin, truck runs, tractor runs, they bring out the big crowds. So this is, I think you're going to have the streets lined from Baldershot and Ballybofey to Creasla, because it's a nice thing to be part of. And the money raised, you mentioned, anyone supporting this, what are you doing with the money, Colin?
Well, it's for the families. I'm going to try and give it directly to the families and the Creasla Community Fund. So I'm not going to rush it, when we have to gather it first, and it'll be there, and we'll just get it sent to the right people who needs it.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, listen, you've a great head start already. Huge numbers registering. There's going to be a great walk-up crowd as well. And just to emphasise that, Colin is saying for the auction in the Silver Tassie on February 4th and the dance that follows afterwards and the entertainment, that's open to absolutely everyone to turn up and bid, and also to go and have a dance and enjoy yourselves and support this great cause. Colin, anything else you want to add?
No, that's it. You might come yourself.
I might. Is that an invite?
Well,
can you get me a room?
we need another singer.
Well, listen, come here. Why would I ruin such a positive event, Colin? It sounds like it's going to be great fun. I'd love to be able to get along to.
We have lorries like from Waterford. I've been contacted from Waterford, Clare, Sligo, Belfast. Nearly every corner of Ireland has contacted me.
And there's a lot of people out there you see that kind of want to do something but feel helpless. Like, well, what can you do?
Well, this is it.
And you're giving them a different group of people an opportunity to say, right, this affected me, even though I'm in Waterford. People with children or not, or whatever it is. This is giving those people an opportunity to say, right, I can get involved in something here and feel a part of.
That's what they are saying. Like, that's what they are saying. It's just it hit home. It hit home with people, and I suppose the trucking community is a community in its own, and they're seeing it, and this is their way to get involved.
Right, brilliant stuff. Okay, how do people contact you in advance, Colin? Do you want us to hold on to your mobile number?
You can do, yeah.
And we'll pass it out rather than read it out on
It's
air.
It's on Facebook. It's on an event on Facebook, Trucking for Creasla. My number's there. Bernard Long and Son. You can contact him. I've help there from the drivers as well, Dean, and I've help from a lot of people, like, Jared Higgerty, Raymond Devaney. They're all going to help. They're going to be in the Applegreen and Letterkenny. I have men there. So the word on the trucking side of it, everybody kind of knows. It's just the public.
Exactly.
It's the public, because
this thing is growing. This thing has become something maybe beyond what you organised.
Well, it is already. Like the donations, as in for auction, I'm overwhelmed with what I've got already. So if it keeps coming like that, we'll be happy.
Right, and if anyone else wants to contribute logistically, I suppose, in terms of items for auction or whatever, we'll give them your mobile number as well. I presume you'll appreciate everything that people have. All right, so put this date in your diary one more time for you folks. Saturday, February the 4th. If you're a truck lorry driver out there, you want to get involved in the Trucking for Creasla, in actually making your way from the yard to Creasla, or picking up with the procession on its way. You're open to do that. You're invited to do that, and we have Colin's number for you. Maybe you want to donate something for something significant for the auction. We have Colin's number for you here as well. And also, if you want to go and have a great night's crack at the Silver Tassie, it's a wonderful venue there. The auction's taking place there, and the dance. Tickets are €15. Doors open at 7 p.m. Tony Morning is doing the auctioneering, and David Craig Band, DJ Tubbs, and a whole host of other brilliant artists are performing. We'd like to thank Colin for all he has done. He is honest and a genuine person who risked his own safety in life. We will never forget him and people like him. Colin is just a sample of the messages that are coming through. I think you know what you did and its importance to people.
Oh yeah. Like a lot of people have reached out to me, and it's lovely to hear, and this here will be part of it as well,
Yeah, well, lots of people said that we had to get you on, and we always intended to. They said you were a lovely fellow, Colin.
Aye.
So you do whatever you do.
That's good news.
Whatever you do, you keep doing it. All right.
No
Hey,
bother.
come here. Congratulations on what you're doing so far. It's going to be huge. And fair play to you, Colin. And we really
Greg.
appreciate you taking your time off your morning, morning to come in here. All right, please, if you can support that and support Colin and his crew, please do. We'll remind you of the details closer to the event as well. But it's a great way to spend this brand new bank holiday Monday, early February.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Do you need to switch your current account or loan? We are now offering MyCU current account and debit MasterCard, bringing full banking features and competitive rate switcher loans.
A new year, a new floor. At Floorit, we offer quality solid, semi-solid and laminate click vinyl wood flooring together with a vast choice of parquet herringbone flooring, all fitted and tailored to your needs. Call in today and see for yourself the fantastic offers available this January. Call Floorit today on 087 161 7008 or visit floorit.ie.
If your New Year's resolutions are already struggling, consider taking a leaf out of the GAA fans' Book of Unwavering Commitment. Keep your goals 6.5 metres wide. Commit to shouting at the top of your lungs as often as possible. And focus on counting points instead of calories. The new season is just getting going. Don't miss a moment with a GAA season ticket. Available now on gaa.ie/season ticket. Are you in? The GAA, where we all belong.
Thinking about joining AIB? What if by changing your bank, you could also change the way you bank? Just watch. At AIB, we don't make technology for you to bank. We make it for you to live, with all your everyday banking needs at your fingertips. Joining AIB takes just a few simple steps. Discover how to become a customer by visiting aib.ie. AIB, we back doing. Allied Irish Banks plc is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Donegal Denture Clinic, Letterkenny. Denture problems? We can help. At Donegal Denture Clinic, we customise, personalise and tailor your dentures to suit you. Call us for a free consultation on 91 25 25 3. Find us at Ballyrain, Letterkenny, beside Rossin College. Medical cards welcome. For all your denture needs, call Donegal Denture Clinic on 91 25 25 3. Online at donegaldentureclinic.ie.
GiveBlood.ie know we can count on you, our community of blood donors, to give blood and to choose to be there for others in their hour of need. Blood donors from Manor Hamilton should attend the clinic in the Bee Park Resource Centre on Monday 16th of January, and donors from Ballybofey and Dunloe should attend the clinic in Jackson's Hotel in Ballybofey from Tuesday 17th to Thursday 19th. Making an appointment is recommended, so call 1-800-731-137 to book your time. Visit giveblood.ie to see eligibility and clinic details.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
Very pleased to welcome back onto the programme Brian Cannon, Director of Roads and Transportation with Donegal County Council. Brian, good morning to you.
Morning, Greg.
Right, so what's the picture out there overnight this morning and I suppose up to the current time on the roads, Brian?
Well, again, our crews were out last night and from early this morning as well, Greg, across our 21 routes. In general, on our gridded routes, conditions are passable. Some areas at slightly higher elevation, the Lahey Pedico Road this morning was a wee bit more troublesome. But in general, the gridded routes are passable. Again, off the gridded routes, road conditions are still icy and
I think in a way
snow,
they're
etc.
slightly a little bit worse because yesterday morning, from what I saw anyway and what I was being told, it was honest snow sort of a thing. Now there's been bits of rain overnight, or a little bit of thawing, then a little bit of freezing. So I think in some ways, in some cases, the back roads were a little bit worse this morning maybe than they might have been yesterday morning. Now the weather advisory is in place until Friday for us here, so we can I'm not sure in terms of snowfall or what have you, Brian, but in terms of travelling and the roads and what your crews are going to have to do, it's going to remain a busy rest of the week.
Absolutely, Greg. And in particular, in the Finn Valley, I would suggest that there is an element of thaw this morning, but there's low temperatures again predicted this evening and overnight. which will lead to quite icy stretches in many places, both in particular off the gridded routes, but on the gridded routes where you have a bit of thaw and you have running water, it can wash the salt off the road. So we can't predict or can't presume any road is ice free, and then that pattern is likely continued through tomorrow and into Friday morning, with that freeze thaw, where you're going to have the water particularly freezing in different locations across the road network.
Yeah, so I think us as motorists have to exercise extreme caution, even on treated routes, because it could be treated at 8, we could be on the road at 10 or whatever. So you just have to presume, that no road is ice free.
Absolutely, yeah, and again, if you can choose a gritted route, even if it's slightly longer for your route, if you have to travel, then do that. Definitely.
You've a wee bee in your bonnet about us trying to take shortcuts that you aren't treating, haven't you? Tell the truth, right now.
Well, yeah, we can't treat every road, and I said, it's 1,100 kilometres. There are options there, and
go the long way round. You're saying
Christmas there were people taking shortcuts, where maybe there was other options available and getting stuck in mountain rescue coming out. So if you can choose, and listen, there are loads of people that can't. In particular, choose a gritted route, but obviously then they'll just have to exercise extreme caution on those untreated gritted
and
routes.
It's a human condition. I think we've all done it at some stage. You say, well, stuff it'll save 10 minutes, and next thing you're stuck and you're taking up the resources of the emergency services or something. So it's a valid point. I do take that, but as I say, you can only do so much. We have to do our bit and just presume that no road is ice free, and Brian's explained there how even a road that's just been treated, there can be running water or something that can wash the aggregate or the salt off, and then you could have that thaw freeze situation. All right, well listen, obviously we're going to be keeping everyone up to date throughout the day on the programmes and through the council's social media and all that type of stuff, but this is the weather, maybe not snow lying everywhere, but it's going to be cold until Friday. That's what we're being told. Right, first hour of the show happened upon these zebra crossings in Ballabafay and Stranraer. And I think it kind of breaks into two parts here, Brian. I think we can probably learn to live with the majority of them, but there's a particular concern about the zebra crossing at the bank, and I get that too. You've got a crossing between two yellow boxes, you've got traffic coming from behind for a pedestrian, flying down from the right, whether it should or not, coming up from the left, and people exiting and entering a car park opposite. I mean, is this the norm now, or are we still in a pilot situation, or what's your view on these crossings?
Yeah, we're in a pilot phase, Greg. Here, there's a number of locations have been selected around the country by TAI to run this pilot program. That pilot program has recently been supported by a change in legislation in relation to not requiring a sign or flashing beacons at a zebra crossing.
Before you move on, can you understand the logic of that? Because we have zebra crossings, right, which are pretty much established across the globe. Pedestrians understand them, motorists understand them. Why would we pass legislation to have something that's kind of like a zebra crossing, operates like a zebra crossing but doesn't look like a zebra crossing, and then 50 yards up the road there is a proper zebra crossing? Do you know why would we be tinkering with that, particularly in sort of urban areas? Why reinvent the wheel?
Yeah, well, as you said, Greg, there's zebra crossings right throughout the country, but also right across the world. We've travelled. They do come in different forms. Actually, in other countries, the Belisha beacon type crossings are not common. In many cases, it is without the Belisha beacon, and these crossings that are being trialled in the Twin Towns as part of the pilot are to be an alternative to the Belisha beacon type crossing. I suppose if we look at the Twin Towns in general, there's about 1.2 kilometres from Glenfin Street Junction all the way over to Maclay's Corner, and that over that period, there's actually 3 controlled crossings. There's one at Micklehennies, there's one outside the old Finn Valley College, and there's a set at Maclay's Corner at that location. Now, as we know, pedestrians, and we talked about taking shortcuts in relation to snow, pedestrians, there's desire lines will cross in multiple locations throughout the town, and in some And in some cases, people are coming out onto the road between parked cars to try and cross roads, maybe taking diagonal routes across, actually crossing longer, etc.
Well, they do that at zebra crossings still, but anyway, I know what the point you're getting to.
Absolutely, and this pilot, I suppose, is to try and maybe highlight where crossing will take place, to perhaps maybe concentrate crossing in certain areas and to increase the visibility. Now, in relation to the rules of the road, booklet that we all get when we do our driving test, and maybe perhaps we should all reread it every so often as well. Even Belisha Beacon type crossings, drivers must stop to let you across. As they approach the crossing, they should slow down or be prepared to stop. But when it comes to pedestrians also have responsibilities when it comes to crossing the road. You don't have the right of way over traffic until you actually step onto the crossing. So you can't just run from the footpath and run across. Never step out onto the crossing if this would cause a driver to brake or to have to swerve suddenly.
Okay, well, let's take the bank then. Let's take the crossing at the bank. You're expecting a pedestrian, and quite rightly so, to monitor 4 lanes there. They have to make sure traffic is stopped behind them. If they're stepping from the bank, they have to make sure traffic is stopped coming down from Donegal Road. They have to make sure traffic is stopped coming up from McElhenny's, and they have to make sure no one's deciding to pull out of the car park entrance exit opposite them. I don't think the rules of the road were written to expect a pedestrian or a motorist to try and contend with Spaghetti Junction.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily call it the Spaghetti Junction, Greg, but the issue there is a desire line for pedestrians, and if that pedestrian at that high visibility crossing, as they're being referred to, was 50 metres down the road, we would be removing parking bays outside premises where you have the bank link, you have other shops there, etc. I would guarantee you're still going to get people crossing
2 big poles
with Street Junction.
Two big poles with orange flashing lights on the top of them.
Yeah,
then everyone knows what it is.
Yeah. Look, and that's part. This is a useful exercise, Greg, and reissuing the press release. It's basically the same press release that went out last June, inviting further submissions now 6 months later, getting the feedback. There's been quite a bit of feedback online. There'll be feedback. There is feedback sought in the press release that went out, info@tai.ie, in relation to the submissions, and all of that will be assessed. And if there's improvements required as part of that feedback.
Who makes the shout on that? Is it the council or the TII?
Did you say?
Yeah, who considers the submissions and maybe makes changes or otherwise dependent on what those submissions might be?
Yes, the email address is info@tai.ie, so that goes directly to the TII. However, the TII are progressing this project in partnership with ourselves, but also with the Garda Síochána, the traffic section, and there's been discussion on this at a forum called the Collision Prevention Programme, where TII, ourselves, the Garda Síochána, etc., discuss a whole matter of road safety issues. And the council will be part of the assessment process. The submissions will be shared, and we will be able to put our views on that as well.
Now, the council has published in that press release, they did a survey of people, and overwhelmingly local people presumably, whoever was on the street at the time, thought it was a good idea. Do you know how many people were surveyed? Were they motorists? Were they pedestrians?
No, I don't have the figures, the actual numbers, but it was a staff member was in the Twin Towns, basically just stopped people as after crossing,
somewhat
asked them
informal.
about their views,
Yeah,
etc.
Okay. What's the status of the crossings in Donegal Town? What are they like? You've outlined precisely how zebra crossing works in terms of pedestrians and motorists. What's the story with the ones in Donegal Town?
They would be deemed uncontrolled crossings or courtesy crossings, whereby again the pedestrian makes contact with the driver from the curb. and then when there's I suppose agreement between them that the driver has stopped and they proceed, it's a matter of courtesy. And
there's no obligation for the motorist to stop for those crossings.
Yes, yeah, and look, in reality, our towns and villages are car dominated, and we are moving towards being more friendly for a variety of road users. That includes pedestrians, but also includes cyclists, includes vulnerable road users, wheelchair users, etc. And also, there are other people that just need a bit of extra time at crossings as well. So it's trying to improve.
And we spoke to Cahill earlier on, who would hate to see this furore, if you could call it that. It's probably not. It's probably storming in a teacup. For them all of a sudden then to be removed. I don't think anyone wants that. But I think the consensus that we are receiving, and maybe people who don't like them are more motivated to contact us, and maybe it's not fully representative. I accept that possibly could be the case, though I suspect it's not. I think what pedestrians and motorists want is a fair crack of the whip. That if you have a certain type of zebra crossing very close by, that this other zebra crossing would at least mirror that or mimic it, although we don't have to think so much. You know how we don't want people on their mobile phones when they're driving, because that split second of distraction can cause a problem. So it's just to give us, the pedestrians and the motorists, though I'm more a motorist than a pedestrian, I'll be honest, to give us fair warning. I think that's a wee bit of common sense, Brian. Do you think there should be signs and lights on those crossings, Brian?
Yeah, well, as I say, this is part of the pilot, and it was
You're
assessed.
A human person. Take off your council hat, throw it in the fire. Yeah. You're a citizen of this county, and your view is as important as anyone else's in my book, Brian. Do you think that these zebra crossings are a good idea as they are right now?
Well, Greg, these look, I'm on here to represent the Donegal County Council.
Fair enough.
But Donegal County Council is made up of individuals, people that live and breathe, people that cross the road.
Our brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles, yeah, of course.
Exactly, our citizens, our cousins, etc. That we all live in Donegal. We're all here to do a job to improve our county, and believe me, myself and our colleagues are very much invested in trying to make improvements, and we do not expect a pat on the back for everything that we do, and we do want to receive feedback, both positive and negative, in a constructive manner, and we're seeing that throughout this process, and we'd encourage people to make their submissions to info@tai.ie in referencing the Ballybofey pilot project, because we do want to make this to improve. I don't believe that in the Twin Towns we want 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 controlled crossings with traffic lights stopping the traffic.
No, I don't know. I agree with you.
I think I agree with you. Finding a balance here.
I think it's them being lit. I think it's them being that. I think it's. I've had people that appeared on them or stepped out, and it's just because it's dark, the lights aren't great in those towns. There's cars coming on, there's cars coming in the other direction. There's windscreen wipers growing. You know the situation. It's a reality. We have a terrible climate here at times, and it's just though if they were lit, you could go, all right, that's that person, because they're not going to be necessarily in fluorescent clothes that you would expect on a by road. They're going to be wearing a dark suit or a long black jacket, because they're only fleeting between shops, and it just doesn't make sense to me that we don't make sure that those people are safe and that a motorist doesn't have an awful tragedy on their conscience. That's it, Brian. But listen, as you say, it's a process. It's ongoing. One quick one here, back to roads, if you don't mind. I don't like to do specifics with you because it's impossible to expect you to have knowledge of absolutely everything. It would be completely unfair. But someone says, can the County Council not grit the drive from St. Joseph's Hospital that houses the emergency ambulance base, please? I want to put that one to you because that seems a bit logical. Are you familiar with that? Do you know if it is or why it's not gritted?
Yeah, it's not currently on our gritting route. The ambulance base moved there. I think it's relatively recently, within the last year or thereabouts, and we've had contact from the hospital, and we've gone back to them in relation to particularly difficult times. We can assist on a sort of a call out basis, but it's not currently included on on the gritting programme.
Brian, listen, thanks so much for making yourself available. It's great to have access to someone like you on topics like this, because it's great information for the people. So it is genuinely appreciated, and thank you very much indeed. Brian Callan, Director of Roads and Transport with Donegal County Council.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
For great fuel deals, contact Gortley Sales and Hire. Large sacks and trailer loads of logs. Also briquettes, coal, kindling and gas with free delivery locally. Contact Gortley Sales and Hire in Letterkenny on 9126276.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why. The Lotto jackpot is an estimated €3 million. Play responsibly in-store, in-app or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
Order. There's a lot to be said for it. Not the restrictive, always play by the book, straight down the line kind of order, but the order you place for a brand new 231 Audi. An order best placed having experienced true progress with a test drive at your Audi dealer, where you will also get advice on the options available to ensure owning your 231 Audi is as straightforward as possible, which is proper order. Visit your nearest Audi dealer, where future is an attitude.
Donegal County Council are seeking applications for the position of part-time retained firefighter in the Stranraer, Donegal Town, Killybegs, Falcarra and Glencolmkill Fire Brigade areas. If you are interested, you're invited to attend recruitment open nights in your local fire station from 7 until 9 p.m. on the following dates: Donegal Town and Glencolmkill Fire Station on the 23rd of January, Stranraer and Falcarra Fire Stations on the 24th of January, and Killybegs Fire Station on the 25th of January. Application forms and information booklets are available on the recruitment section of the Council's website, donegalcoco.ie. For more information, contact Fire Brigade HQ on 074 9121 676 during office hours, or email fireservice@donegalcoco.ie.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport. Salah, Ninnis, the Beatles. You can now fly to Liverpool 8 times a week with Ryanair this summer. Ireland West Airport. Don't just take off, take it easy.
Okie doke, let's look at the weather forecast for what's left of today, which is much of it. Cold today, sunny spells, scattered showers of rain, sleet and snow. So I think you can imagine where the rain will be, the sleet will be and the snow will be. It depends on elevation an awful lot of the time and proximity to the sea. Highest temperatures of 2 to 5 degrees in moderate, fresh west to northwest winds. By the way, get your gloves on. It's a snow day for many of you out there. You're out building your snowmen and snow women. Get your submissions in now for the 9 till noon show. Snowman competition for the chance to win a 9 till noon cup for the perfect hot chocolate, even with extra marshmallows, of course. If you want to enter, email a photo of your snowman to comments@highlandradio.com to be in with the chance to win. Is it only email or WhatsApp as well? Email only, is it? That's a bit boring. I hate sending pictures via email. Can we do it on WhatsApp? You know, it's such a nightmare. You open the email, you compose the email, then you hit the paper clip, and then you have to go into your gallery and you can't find the picture, and you're afraid you might send a picture of the spot in your forehead that you took for a closer look. If you want to email, that's just my life trying to email a picture. If you want to email your picture, do so. Comments@highlandradio.com or WhatsApp it to us, which would what I would do, to be honest. 086 60 25,000. And come here, you know, if you already sent it in to John or David or someone else, just send it in again. They're not going to notice. All snowmen and women look the same, don't they? Get involved. Get yourself a 9 till noon show mug. Are they back in stock, Caroline? Did you find one? You didn't find one. New stock is due to arrive of the limited edition. They're so limited that we had to get more of them because they were so popular. So what we want to do, what we want to see is your pictures of what snowmen or whatever you've built today or yesterday. Email comments@highlandradio.com or WhatsApp them into 086 60 25,000 and one of you will win a 9 till noon show mug. Second prize, 3 mugs. No, I'm only joking. Greg, thank you so much for highlighting the untreated road situation at Burt Bray and the knock-on effect of no home help. We received a call from Home Help Coordinator and have been advised that a home help will be up in the afternoon for one visit with civil defence. It's a pity this isn't standard for HSC winter plan every year like it used to be. But look, a win's a win. So that's good news, isn't it? So the people that need that help will get it today. Thank you for highlighting it with us. And that's how we make differences here, because we work together and raise issues. Cara House Meal Delivery Service will not be operating today. Creaselot Day Centre will be closed today. And the ATU Donegal Open Evening has been rescheduled to 4 to 7 p.m. on Wednesday, the 25th of January, due to the current weather. I'll read more of that out, but I have to take a break because we're heading towards the news. Lots coming up in the last hour of the show. Do not go anywhere. Don't forget, if you want to watch the show, hop on to YouTube, Highland Radio Ireland, or you can watch via the Facebook Watch app or Facebook itself, any of our Facebook pages.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Winter sale at Brian McCormick Sports now on. In-store and online. Discounts of up to 30% off. Asics, New Balance, Brooks and Hoka footwear. GT2000, Gel Cumulus, New Balance 880, Hoka Clifton 8, to name just a few. Treat your feet in our winter sale. Grab a discount and stretch those legs. Look the part, play the part. In-store and online. Click and collect on bmcsports.ie.
Super Value makes saving money as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. We match Aldi on the products you love, like Super Value Medium Red Cheddar Block, $1.69. Super Value Family Toilet Tissue 9 Roll, $2.29. 2. Get hundreds of better than half price special offers. And 3. Money off vouchers every week on the app. Super Value makes saving money as easy as 1, 2, 3.
At Ulster Bank, our team is continuing to close current and deposit accounts, along with some of our branches. At this time, if your notice period and your deadline has passed, your account is now queued for closure. All personal and business account deadlines are fast approaching. You must take urgent action. If you are still relying on your bank account and in need of more support, please contact us immediately. Visit ulsterbank.ie, your local branch, or call 0818 210 260. Call costs may vary and calls from mobiles may not be free. Ulster Bank Ireland DAC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
The huge January sale is now on at Watson Menswear in Letterkenny. Get 2 pair of jeans for €70. A selection of shirts, knitwear, jackets and suits at half price. Great discounts on top labels like Superdry, Penguin, Mishmash, Remus, Umo and more. Don't miss out on big savings in the January sale now on at Watson Menswear, Main Street, Letterkenny, and online at watsonmenswear.com.
Not to be missed, Springsteen, a tribute, comes to the Villa Rose Hotel Ballybuffet on January the 27th and on Kirch Hotel Gidor, January the 28th. Tickets €20, available online at Eventbrite or from hotel reception.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
Okay, it's time for a news update at 11 o'clock. Let's say good morning now to Emma Ryan.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. Letterkenny University Hospital is the third most overcrowded hospital in the country today. According to figures from the INMO, Letterkenny University Hospital saw a slight increase in the number of people on trolleys compared to yesterday. Today there were 49 people on trolleys in the hospital, 21 of them in the emergency department, while yesterday there was 48 people on trolleys. Nationally, 595 admitted patients are waiting on beds this morning. Meanwhile, the Health Minister says it's likely that we are past the worst of the winter flu season. Stephen Donnelly says early indications show cases of RSV and COVID-19 are starting to decline steadily. There were 17 patients with COVID-19 being treated at Letterkenny University Hospital last night. That compares to 28 on Tuesday of last week and 43 the Tuesday before that. Met Éireann has issued another ice warning. The status yellow alert will be in place for the entire country from 7 p.m. tonight until midday tomorrow. The forecaster says wintry showers will continue with some patches of freezing fog. Senior HSE officials in the region are to meet with North West Oireachtas members and Regional Health Forum members on Friday to discuss the future of NowDoc services. Confirmation of the meeting comes as Donegal County Council prepares to write to the HSE seeking clarification on the future of the service. Councillor Donald Coyle said it is important that clarification is given on the status of the Letterkenny base and also the satellite units in Carndonagh, Derrybeg and Mount Charles. The Garda Commissioner is urging people who may be subject to intimidation for so-called drug debts in Donegal to contact Gardaí. Speaking during a visit to the county on Monday, Drew Harris says he is concerned over the number of incidents of intimidation of people and their family. Donegal's Chief Superintendent Aidan Glacking, speaking at the recent meeting of the Donegal JPC, confirmed that an operation targeting the sale and supply of drugs in the county in recent months in Letterkenny and Buncrana resulted in a significant number of arrests. And finally, the Public Expenditure Minister, Paschal Donohoe, will make a statement to the Dáil this evening over his 2016 general election declarations. It follows calls from opposition party whips, but it is unknown if Minister Donohoe will face questions. It centres around the putting up and taking down of posters, which Minister Donohoe said he believed was voluntary. But after reviewing his records, he should have declared an extra €1,100 to his election statement. That's all for now. We'll have headlines again at 12 o'clock, but until then, good morning.
OK, Emma, thank you very much indeed.
You're at the counter in your local shop. Birthday card in one hand, a pack of those teeny tiny candles in the other. Now for a present, only to look up and see the display of scratch cards. Talk about the best present ever if they win big. Birthday or no birthday, with millions in cash prizes to be won instantly, next time you're in store, ask for any all-cash scratch card. The National Lottery. It could be them. Gift responsibly.
All right, you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show here on Highland Radio. It's Wellness Wednesday time and we're talking dental health. So if you've any questions as it relates to your dental health, get in touch with us, 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000, or call 07491 25,000. We're in the company of Dr. Dara Reynolds, partner at Errigal Dental. Good morning to you. How are you getting on? Good to see you again.
Getting on well. How are you?
Good. Last time I was speaking to you, we were kind of in the throes of the pandemic and you were having to adapt and adjust and all that type of stuff. Things operating close to normal now?
Yeah, pretty much, Greg. Thanks. The pandemic was a difficult time for sort of medical practitioners, dental practitioners. Lots of whatever was true of social distancing with the general public. It was sort of more so when you went into a sort of a clinical environment. But happily, all of that stuff is more or less behind. Well, I mean, we still have operate the same precautions. We wear our PPE and wear our masks, but we don't have to be. Patients can enter the waiting areas more or less as per normal. So yeah, look, I'm happy to be able to report things are good.
Okay, listen, we'll have more general chit chat, but questions coming in already. Believe it or not, I didn't flag this in advance, but it's great to see. I have bumpy teeth. Can I get them shaved, or is that really bad for them? No idea what they're talking about there.
I guess it depends on the degree of the bumpiness. Some people will have irregularities in the outer layer of your teeth is the enamel. Some people, particularly younger people, when their adult teeth come through, sometimes they have these little lumps and bumps called mamelons. If they're quite pronounced, yeah, they can be smooth, polished off a little bit, and typically it won't have any detrimental effect on the enamel. But again, it depends on the degree. If the more enamel you remove, theoretically the weaker the tooth becomes at that point. So there's a degree with which you would be concerned. But I mean, a dentist, if they had a look at that, if you ask the question, they'll be able to tell you very quickly whether it'll be a problem or not.
In terms of babies, toddlers using a pacifier or a bottle, can that actually affect their teeth shape as they mature, or is that a myth, or what's the story?
No, because my own daughter, and she'll kill me for saying this, we were a bit slow getting rid of her soother, and it can tend to stop the teeth coming together at the front in particular. And normally, once the kid stops wearing that, the problem, the human body sort of responds amazingly well, and that'll rectify itself. But it's like anything. If you can try and have the kid not having the soother for too long, certainly you wouldn't want a child still with a sort of a pacifier when their adult teeth are starting to come through, because that can certainly have a much longer term knock-on effect. I mean, anything can be solved with orthodontics, but prevention's better than cure. So certainly better to try and get rid of a pacifier. I'd recommend, at the very latest by age 4 or 5. And I mean, might sound very late, but I suppose there are some children out there that would have a tendency to suck their thumbs and or have pacifiers even quite late. So,
yeah,
you can get rid, the better. Yeah.
All right. My son never wore his retainer. Will it harm his teeth to get braces again? First set when he was 14. He's 21 now and wanted to straighten his teeth again. So presumably he got them straightened before but didn't wear the retainer, and that work has been undone. Is that familiar? Is that common?
That is, it's a really familiar story. It's so regular that people, children, adolescents, teenagers get orthodontics done, get a beautiful result. But wearing the retainer is so important, and but that's so common you wouldn't believe it. As regards having their braces redone again, that there's no problem there. Adult orthodontics is very, very common now. Certainly in places, in Europe and in the States and Canada, places like that, but increasingly so in Ireland, where you'll get a lot of people into their 40s, 50s, and 60s, even if there are issues that they don't like about the shape of their teeth. There's no reason you just have to sit on that, and there's lots you can do about that. So to answer that particular listener's question, no issue having orthodontics redone if they so wish.
And there'll be no tutting.
No tutting, no. It happens all the time. Okay. The youth is wasted on the young, like kids. They get beautifully straight teeth, but then they don't realize how important it is, and their parents would spend a fortune on their braces. So it's really important that they wear those retainers.
I want to read this one slowly because I think this is quite an important one, and I don't know if this is the same situation this person was in, but it took me 3 or 4 years to work up the courage to return to an optician, because an optician said something to me as I was leaving the opticians, right? I don't want to go into it. It's my own mind, right? But I understand. It took me 3 or 4 years. I had this fear of returning to an optician's. So I have a feeling that this person might have a fear of going to the dentist's, maybe, but not in the traditional sense because of needles and stuff. So we'll treat that question in that way, if that's okay. They suffered with mental health issues that have caused them to neglect their teeth. They're very, very wary about going into a dentist. What can I say to them? I don't want to get told off. This is a big deal for me and my recovery. So they want to go into the dentist, and I think this will be important as part of the recovery. But they're for one reason or another, they don't want to get scolded for neglecting their teeth, or maybe there's a bit of anxiety in going into the dentist. So what's your message to them?
I would say it's important for them to how would I say, maybe take, it's not exactly a leap of faith, but what I would say is, look, first of all, when you're making an appointment in most dental surgeries, I think ours is typical of most, that your first point of contact is going to be the reception staff. And typically those guys are so well trained, they're so used to dealing with the public. And if this individual just says, look, opens their heart up and says, look, this is the situation. I'd love to meet the dentist for a consultation. These are my issues, and like the reception staff will typically make that note on their patient's record. So and let the dentist know, look, this is the situation. This person is uneasy about coming back to the dental environment. We would like a nice, simple, gentle consultation for visit 1. To talk about the issues, and just so that the dentist then, forewarned is forearmed, knows. And I'd be very surprised, like most dentists, like we're not all old school anymore. We don't tend to get told off, or God, at least I hope not, when they go to the dental surgery, that, if somebody says, as I said earlier, opens their heart, says, look, to the dentist, these are the problems I have, and I want to try and fix this, and what can we do? Because like doctor and patient, dentist and patient, it's a partnership, and you're both working towards the same ends. You're both working for the dental health of that individual, and also you're hoping to get an end result that the patient likes, that when they look in the mirror, they like what they see,
So to that listener, you will get a sympathetic and understanding welcome from your dentist. Just tell the staff in advance. They've heard it all before probably, and they know how to deal with things. A few notes could be left on your file for the dentist, and you can go in and continue that part of your journey, which seems sort of, from my reading of the text, sort of linked to the whole thing. So hopefully that's helped. Is there any way I can get my filling subsidised? Can't claim it back on tax, and I have a lot of work to get done.
There are some people, depending on means testing, would have medical cards. Medical card fillings are heavily subsidised in any given calendar year. The first 2 fillings you have done are free, rather they're not. Maybe they're not entirely free anymore, but they are. They're very, very heavily subsidised. That's for people who have a medical card. Not everybody does. And then for people who don't have a medical card, there isn't any particular government scheme or there are some dental insurance products on the market. I'm no expert now when it comes to.
Are we still in that situation where we can get our some people can get their teeth pulled for free, but can't get their teeth cared for free?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's one of the shortcomings. You're referring there, Greg, to the medical card scheme. Yeah. It really is. It's basically an emergency scheme. It's to cover pain. It very much just covers the basics. It covers extractions. It covers a couple of fillings in any given year. Some dentures, things like that. It doesn't cover an awful lot. It's quite limited. And outside of that really, dental care in the country is effectively private. There's very little government put into it. The government doesn't provide much towards it. It's worth bearing in mind, though. The vast bulk of the population, anybody who's making, or almost everyone who makes PRSI contributions, can gain or is entitled to a dental examination every year, a couple of X-rays every year, and a cleaning that's heavily subsidised. It only costs 10 or 15 euros to have the teeth cleaned once a year. So that does cover some preventative stuff, and that's actually a much bigger portion of the population than people realise. It's like a lot of people when they go to the opticians, are surprised to learn that they have a free eye exam. Well, dental care is the same. Anyone who can get a free eye exam can most likely get a free dental exam as well.
All right, my child is 3.5. She still doesn't have her upper lateral incisors. They just never came down, and she's got 2 gaps where they should be. Does she need to be seen by a dentist?
And sorry, the child was how old?
3.5.
3.5. Sometimes a lateral incisor, it's what's called congenitally absent. It just never formed. When the baby was very, very young. And if that's the case, it can often repeat itself when the adult teeth come through. That would be my suspicion in a 3.5-year-old, because normally a 3.5-year-old will have all of their baby teeth. Normally all the baby teeth are through by about 2-ish, about 2.5. So certainly by 3.5, I'd expect them to be there. If it isn't there, my guess is that they're probably just not there. And if they're not there, it's not a question of rushing off to the dentist, because there's nothing to be done, if you know what I mean. If they're not there, you certainly don't make any adjustments or changes to a baby's teeth. If the adult teeth are missing, then it's a question in the future. If there's some spacing at the front, you're thinking in terms of braces, orthodontics to close those spaces, perhaps.
All right, my teeth and gums bleed at night. Can the dentist give any advice on a product called ProDentine? And these are probably the words that fill you with fear. I saw it advertised on the internet.
ProDentine, I'm not aware of that product. There are a lot of products that people will be quite familiar with, just normal, TV or social media advertising. Things like Corsidol is a brand, and another brand called Akin have a range of products which are pretty effective. They all have an active ingredient in them called chlorhexidine, which effectively it's an antibacterial. And it kills off a lot of the bugs that cause inflammation in the gums and therefore bleeding in the gums. It's a good starting point. And then what the person might want to do is go and see their dentist or go and see their dental hygienist for a good effective cleaning. Because if you've lots of plaque, lots of bacteria in the mouth, you could be brushing till the cows come home. You won't get it shifted properly yourself. And once you get rid of that, you'd be surprised, you'd be amazed. A lot of that inflammation in the gums will effectively sort itself out. But
it is amazing how I got something stuck in my gum, a bit of food or something I didn't realise I had. But in a matter of days, there was swelling, there was issues with, it's astonishing how quickly, I suppose it's dirty teeth, how quickly it can manifest itself into something.
Yeah, well, that's something very, things like like popcorn, little popcorn kernels, stuff that can get stuck between the teeth, stuck in your gums, because our gums actually produce a fluid of their own, and if the gum is blocked, that fluid can't come out. It's like part of it's part of your saliva.
Sweaty gums.
Yeah, and if your gums can't sweat, they do get blocked, and therefore, quite suddenly you can get swelling, and which is the beginning of an infection. But then again, on the flip side, it's once you get that shifted, it's easy to get rid of, and it'll sort itself.
But just with that example you gave, you will struggle with a toothbrush. On cleaning, a caller asks, I don't know what the motivation for the question is. Is there different degrees to cleaning teeth in dentists? Like, do you get what you pay for?
I suppose it's time. If you go for a standard, what's called a scale and polish, and that's the type of thing that's covered under your annual PRSI contributions, you'll have used what's called a prophy paste, which is in effect a gritty toothpaste. It's a slightly abrasive toothpaste. It gets rid of a lot of the stains and plaque and stuff that your own home brand toothpaste won't get rid of. And on top of that, you should receive a cleaning with what's called an ultrasonic scaler. Now, what that's actually for, that's a finer instrument. It gets into the areas that your toothbrush doesn't. It gets into those nooks and crannies between the back teeth, underneath your gums, shifts a lot of what's called calculus. That's the harder chalky deposit. And that's what's covered under a basic scale and polish. Now, depending on some people, if it's been quite a while since they're at the dentist, or some people develop huge amounts of plaque and tartar, they need to be brought back for secondary or maybe even a tertiary cleaning, whereby they just need a really deep cleaning done, and that takes longer. Sometimes it even requires local anesthetic if they've got loads of deposits sort of under gum level. So to answer the patient's question,
so a dentist may well say, because of the situation in your mouth, I'm going to have to clean your teeth over a couple of consultations. Yeah. Okay, I get you. I have an ongoing fight with my daughter who is whitening her teeth far too much. How often is safe? Now, we don't know what she's using to whiten them, because there's no end of products being advertised on TikTok, and then there's the dentist's system as well. So we don't know what she's using, but can you overdo it?
If the product is safe, I was put it this way: even if the product is safe, you can probably overdo it, a little. So long as they're using something that has a CE mark, is reputable, like it's typically a carbamide peroxide or a hydrogen peroxide. Normally, any whitening product, you do it for about a fortnight to start with, and thereafter, I would only say to my patients, thereafter, do it for a couple of nights per month. That's really all you need to keep the result fresh. I mean, it's not something you should even be doing for a couple of nights per week. And these products, they're very, very safe. But if you're using them constantly, I would be worried about the repercussions in the long run.
All right, listen, we're going to have to try and squeeze in a couple more. What age can you have issues with your wisdom teeth? My husband's 40, and claims his wisdom tooth is killing him. Could it actually be a gum issue? He's afraid of dentists, and trying to get him to make an appointment is impossible. Can I say, before you say one thing, before you say your thing, he's going to end up in a dentist. That is a fact, right? Well, whether he goes now by choice or ends up having to go be dragged there kicking and screaming, he's eventually going to have to go to a dentist. I understand. I can empathise with him. But this guy's going to have to go anyway. But is it possible his wisdom tooth is playing him up at 40? I wonder, Dara.
It's possible, Greg, yeah. Our wisdom teeth, typically no sign of them until 16, 17 at the very earliest, but more often we can be in our early 20s before they really start to have an impact. On occasion, if you say lose some other back teeth and that creates some space back there, the wisdom teeth can come through much later on. So it could be that the wisdom tooth is starting to push through, but typically when wisdom teeth cause trouble, it is actually, strictly speaking, a gum issue, because it's the gum that typically becomes infected around them. But again, course of antibiotics, a good cleaning around that area will sort it out. But if the wisdom tooth is trapped, it could become a recurring issue, and he may be well advised to have that wisdom tooth removed. And in that case, most likely he would be referred to a specialist oral surgeon to have that done.
But I think he needs advice from Dr. Dara and not Dr. Google.
Yeah,
because I suspect his internet search history would be rich with either pain at the back of my mouth or I've discomfort. Staying with gums, I have gum disease and I'm going for a laser deep clean. It's €100 for the top and €100 for the bottom. Would you recommend it?
Yeah, well, if it's a deep cleaning done and it's normally, yeah, I'd have no issue with that. I'm not familiar with laser cleaning of the teeth per se. Normally we use, as I said, ultrasonic scalers. But I would imagine the process is, not dissimilar. But if they've been to a reputable dentist or a hygienist and is told they need a deep cleaning, and if it's required, then go for it.
Mouth ulcers, should I be going to the GP or to the dentist?
I think most oral issues, your dentist is much more familiar with them than your typical GP. I mean, there's no harm going to your GP. GPs are very well trained, very knowledgeable. But usually, oral issues, your first port of call, no harm going to your dentist because they're familiar with what's going on in there.
My daughter's 9, slow developing her adult teeth. At what age should I be concerned they are there but are slow coming down?
I think you're okay for time just yet. If you get towards 11 or 12 and some of those premolars and molars still haven't come in, it'd be no harm to see. Well, I would hope that they're seeing their dentist anyway. I mean, if their child is getting an annual checkup, their dentist again will be able to tell them if there's progress. A lot of the time, like teeth, typically almost always come in of their own accord. It's very rare that they don't, and it's very rare that teeth are congenitally absent. But it does happen. But
yeah, okay. Is it true you can only get false teeth on the bottom row if you have front teeth missing?
Is it true you can only get false
teeth on the bottom row if you've got front teeth missing? I'm sure you can get teeth in anywhere.
You can get teeth in anywhere. I think I know what they're saying. If their bottom front teeth are missing and they still have teeth further back, yes. The short answer is yes. It makes their life a little easier because their lower denture will sit and fit better. Whereas particularly in the lower jaw, the more teeth you're missing, the trickier it is to wear a lower denture. But it should be good to go.
A couple of callers saying they're having difficulty registering with dentists because they're not accepting medical card holders. Is that something that we're seeing, or is it just this individual's experience?
No, I'd say they're not wrong. That is something that's even nationwide. There are fewer and fewer dentists. There are fewer dentists opting into the medical card system. This is a historical point, and this has been happening gradually for years. So I'd say it's just within the last couple of years that the patients are starting to notice that it's that bit trickier to find a dental practice that accepts new medical card patients. An awful lot of dentists will have built up a large number of medical card patients over time and may find that their books are full and just can't accept anymore. Perhaps it's probably
there's no obligation to the private businesses, I presume. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but just so I have a clear understanding. I mean, a dentist practice is a private business. They open it up and they choose if they want to do one or other or a mix, I presume.
Yeah, most dentists do a mix. I know here in our practice we've 4 dentists and we've a mix. So there's most of the dentists see medical card patients, 1 or 2 don't, and it's really a question of their book, how busy they are and how many, because they can only, I suppose people, it's like you're going to your GP can only absorb so many patients. Like this is a problem we've seen, say, in the UK for years, where you people are even here familiar with the NHS, where a lot of people in England, UK, Scotland would have difficulty accessing an NHS dentist or doctor. That's becoming the case, sort of something similar here, particularly in dentistry. It's getting hard to get to a medical card dentist.
Right, look, we could have done the hour easily with the amount of interest, Ara, but we really do appreciate your time. We've got things to do, and I know you've got things to do as well. So thanks for taking your time out of your busy morning to answer those questions. Really appreciate it.
Not at all, Greg. Always good to speak to you. Take
care of yourself. That is Dr. Dara Reynolds, partner at Erigal Dental. And that was Wellness Wednesday, focusing on your dental health. That item will be back with you. Wellness Wednesday next Wednesday, of course, but we'll get back to teeth in the not too distant future.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
I think he enjoys the visits and calls. At the start, he was a bit quiet, but I soon got him going. And so now we talk about all sorts, and he knows I'll help him out with a bit of advice when he needs it. I often say to him, "Isn't it lucky you started volunteering with a loan? Otherwise, you never would have met me.
It feels amazing to make someone feel amazing. Volunteer with Alone. Find out more at alone.ie/volunteer.
Visit Sensory Complex for a perfect family day out. Kids will love exploring sensory play. We have lots of tasty options available at Backstage Bar and Grill. And at Sensory Cinemas, we're showing kids' movies, comedies, action and adventures, dramas and more. Get in touch on 074 9121976 or visit sensorycinemas.ie for more information.
Stylish nights and memorable delights await at radsligo.com with our fantastic January sale. Escape it all with 25% off B&B stays and enjoy a well-deserved breakaway. Indulge in afternoon tea overlooking Sligo Bay, relax with a treatment at the spa, enjoy a delicious meal in the Brasserie and Waves Bar, or surround yourself with the best of Sligo's outdoor pursuits right on your doorstep. 25% off sale ends 31st of January. Book now at radsligo.com.
Living in Derry is absolutely fantastic. Everyone's so friendly, they're the salt of the earth, and there's a great atmosphere. I've always wanted to be a paramedic. I decided to apply to Ulster University because this is a pioneering course in Northern Ireland. It's laid the foundations for a successful and rewarding career as a paramedic. Studying at the McGee campus is absolutely fantastic. It's a compact but vibrant campus right in the heart of the city centre. It's where old meets new and where culture meets character. I'm Ben and I'm a first-year student paramedic studying at Ulster University.
The Guardian University Guide 2023 named Ulster #1 university in Northern Ireland. Ulster University, delivering sustainable futures.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
We can all see how conflict affects energy supply and prices. More than ever, we need to be mindful of how we use energy. By reducing your use, you can save money and lessen the impact. Here's how. Only heat your home to the temperature you need. Use appliances efficiently. And where possible, outside the peak hours of 4 to 7 p.m. Consider walking, cycling, or public transport for short journeys. Drive at lower speeds where safe to do so. Government advice and supports are available for homes and businesses to help you meet this challenge. Find out more at gov.ie/reduce your use. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Foy & Company are the Northwest's leading interiors, paint, curtain and blind and interior design specialists. Make a statement in style and give your home or commercial premises a fresh new look this year. With over 25 years experience, the in-house team of interior designers and paint colour consultants will make it happen. This month, get a free 1-hour colour and interior design consultation at Foy & Company in Letterkenny. Book now to transform any room or commercial space on 9121925.
Super Value makes saving money as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. We match Aldi on the products you love. 2. Get great better than half price offers like Super Value Fresh Irish Round Roast, better than half price. Comfort Fabric Conditioner 55 wash, $4.05. And 3. Money off vouchers every week on the app. Super Value makes saving money as easy as 1, 2, 3.
At ESB Networks, we're connecting Ireland to a clean electric future. And as part of the National Smart Metering Programme, we're now installing smart electricity meters in your area. Your new smart meter will reduce the need for estimated bills, help you to manage your electricity usage more efficiently, and enable you to access smart electricity products and services. We'll contact you before your meter is installed. Find out more at esbnetworks.ie/smartmeter.
Okay, Business Matters on the way for you shortly, but time for some of your comments here. Greg, with all these different types of crossings for pedestrians, why do the TAI not stick to one standard? Because this does not help the pedestrians or the motorists. I concur. Hi, Greg, just listening here in relation to the pedestrian crossing in Ballybofey. The crossing at the bank is awful. There's so much going on with all the junctions and the crossings, but if your speaker from the council doesn't even think it's a spaghetti crossing, then sure, we're talking to a brick wall and nothing will change. I think my reference to spaghetti is Spaghetti Junction, which is a junction in Birmingham, and if you ever see it from above, it looks like a bowl of spaghetti, and I think what he was saying is it's not quite that bad, in fairness. Oh, come on, Donegal County Council. These pedestrian crossings were put in place practically overnight without consulting the local drivers or pedestrians. Like everything else, we have to put up or shut up. Our betters know best. Dancing at the Bonagee Club in Letterkenny is cancelled for tonight, by the way, in case you weren't aware. We have a zebra crossing in Manor, and one of the lights have been out for about 9 months. I've called the council and several councillors, and yet here I am, 9 months later, with it still off. Right, so a zebra crossing in Manor, one of the lights isn't working. That sounds like it needs its bulb changed. I'll get a stepladder and go and do it myself. Hopefully, though, the council will. Can't believe that all the schools are closed today again and probably tomorrow. The snow's actually thawing and has been since last night. What's the big problem? Just be careful when out there. It should be no big problem unless you own your own lane or road is untreated, is slippy. Well, you see, and I don't want to sound in any way patronising, a large proportion of the school and its staff, by the way, it's not just the students, don't live on main roads. They live on back roads. I had incredible difficulty getting from my house onto the main road. Once on the main road, no problem, but incredible difficulty. Some of the roads are simply not passable. A lot of students get to school via buses. The bus companies themselves have to decide whether or not they can drive on many occasions on back roads safely, picking up their precious cargo to get them to school safely. So a school presumably has to consider, is it fair to ask its staff to try and get in on these dangerous back roads? Yes, the main roads are gritted, we get that. And secondly, bus companies can't run, so many of the students can't get into school. So I think it's understandable why schools are closed. I get it, but I fully respect your view. But as I say, there's a lot of people, staff as well, that couldn't get into school. Whatever happened to the bypass that was happening in Ballybofey? Well, it's one side of Ballybofey, then it's on the other side of Ballybofey. It's tied into the 10Ts, isn't it? And it's on the long finger, but the consultation over its route is ongoing, I believe. I believe some land and properties that would have to make way for it. That work is ongoing, if I'm not mistaken. I was in Ballybofey Friday last. I tried to cross the road, had to wait at least 15 minutes to get across Ballybofey Street. I'd be very careful. If not, I'd be run over. I was at more than one of these so-called safe crossings trying, and thankfully a lady and a young person finally showed the respect and stopped to let me safely across. Thanks to those drivers. Happy 2023, Greg, and all at Highland Radio, a daily listener. Great to have you on board. Thank you. I too, Greg, was aghast at the Ballybofey crossings the last time I drove through, simply adding to the chaos of that road. It's only a matter of time now before we have a fatality. Well, let's please pray that that doesn't happen. They should take a wee look at Strabane crossings lit up correctly. Donegal County Council, a joke if it wasn't so serious. It's the TAI, by the way, it's not the council. It is the council on some stuff on this occasion. It's Transport Infrastructure Ireland, because this is the main road. If the council take any responsibility for the unfinished zebra crossings in the event of personal injury claims against drivers by pedestrians, again, I think it might be under the TII, but if they've passed legislation, presumably within that legislation, there's a bit of protection for them. Home help people should get free snow tyres. That would get them around to see their patients. In some cases, yeah, I get you. Wow, there's even more on these crossings. This is unbelievable. I'd say we have got more texts on this today and messages on social media than you might get actually in a public consultation process. Bank crossing is a disaster. 4 words. That's it. They leave it at that. Hi, Greg. Be interesting to see who voted in the poll, because no one I know knew of a poll. These crossings just appeared overnight. There was no poll. I think maybe you're on about the consultation. Donegal drivers are ignorant of pedestrian crossings now in most countries. Before pedestrians cross, they put their hand up to say they want to cross. Coming in from Jackson's, where the bank crossing is located, leaves pedestrians in the blind spot for lorries. So dangerous. Yeah, indeed. I can see where you're coming from. Only in Ireland that this can happen, where incompetent people and people in jobs that they are fit to do every country. Apparently non-pelican zebra crossings are common in other countries. 9 till noon show. We need a roundabout at the finger post on the round from Ballybofey to Convoy, where you take the left to Letterkenny on your way from Ballybofey. Tailbacks at the finger posts at Kilross every morning and evening is totally unacceptable. Thanks for raising the issue. I believe funding, I have to do an awful lot of this off memory, and the older I get, the less reliable that seems to become. I think funding has been allocated for, and someone will correct me if I'm wrong, I believe funding has been allocated for, what do you call it? A pre-plan. for the provision of a roundabout at Kilross, I believe. Now, I could be confusing that with the Lahey Junction, but I think Kilross as well. Either there's calls for funding for a preliminary report or whatever you might call it at Kilross. It really, really needs one. You know, it would make life so much easier for so many people. But also, I think there was some funding allocated for a roundabout at Lahey. Was there stuff for, I think, Kilross as well? If not, we'll chase it up. Jared, save me from my memory. Jared, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing good. Right, speed really is a problem you're highlighting.
Speed is my issue. I live in the town of Ballyfay here in Donegal Street.
Yeah.
Last week, 2 days in a row, I was nearly knocked down twice by cars driving up and down the street like the hammer blue hell. It's unbelievable what's going on in this town. And then the approach in the pedestrian crossings in, and they're going too hard. And I've spoken in the Garda last week about it. I've also written to all the councillors as well too. This is before this was highlighted today.
So where are you? Are you between the bank and the Lidl or Aldi there, or are you further on out the road?
I'm on bang in between there. Just
okay.
So that's where I'm at. I mean, I'm born and reared in the town here, and the changes in the traffic here is unbelievable. What has happened now since they resurfaced the road from the bottom of Rory's Brae down onto the town, and the cars are travelling at high speed in it. 7:30 in the morning, they would drive over the top of you. 8:30 in the morning, going to work, going to school, both ways, heading to Donegal town, heading to Letterkenny. Something is going to happen shortly. Like, there's going to be somebody killed, and I witness every day in this town, day and night, them pedestrian crossings. An absolute disaster that's there, you know.
And do you think people put the foot down once they cross those boxes as they head out the Donegal Road, or they fly in?
Once they come around at the bank corner heading up Donegal Street here, it's shoe to the board. They don't lift. And the same coming down, and then there's a junction then just above me here at Lidl. It takes you down then to the Tusk Road there. What happens, there's cars there, but then there's cars coming down the inside driving at speed, and it's unbelievable. I just feel so passionate about this. There's somebody going to be killed in this town, and the sooner someone has to be sorted out. Earlier on, Jonathan them touched on about the lighting in the town. The lighting is atrocious.
It's terrible.
It's not all the driver's fault. Them crossings, it's the pedestrians. It works both ways, but as I say, the speed is a major issue in this town, so it is, and something has to be done about it.
Yeah, and you know, we're not talking about just inconvenience and stuff. This whole conversation is about making sure no one gets hurt or injured.
Exactly.
You know, that's all we're talking about. We don't want, you know, everywhere pedestrianised and cars off the road.
Not at all.
This is just about trying to share this space, but it to be safe. And you need the backup of enforcement by the sounds of things, Jared.
I've asked the councillors to get signage. As you enter the village of the school there's a warning sign there. It'll tell you exactly what speed you're doing and makes people aware, and they slow down for it, and something like that.
Those signs are amazing. Like that. Yeah, they're amazing, because even if people have other things on their mind, they flash there. Like if you had one as you sort of passed the turn off to the Lidl there, and it was flashing saying slow down, and it was showing your speed, say you were doing 55 or 45, overnight you would see traffic slowing down approaching that junction. I know that for a fact.
You definitely would.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing comes in, they're coming down then into the pedestrian crossing at the bank. You see, they're coming in there at speed into that, you know. And as they listen, as an accident waiting to happen, and please God it not happen, but someone needs to be done urgently about it. And as they, regarding the survey of the council, I don't know who they were talking to.
Yeah, well, you know, I'll tell you, there's very few. We get a lot of reaction on this show, Jared, but I'll tell you, between social media and people texting and calling in, there's not much will top this year in terms of people having a say, and overwhelmingly they don't want the baby thrown out with the bathwater, but they need, these things need further investigation, or and the lights need to be improved in Ballybofey and Stranora as well.
Oh, they're absolutely atrocious there. See it at night there, and you're coming down there in front of the Villa Rose along there, and I mean, see, they're so dark.
It is dark. You know? Yeah, I don't know if there's any.
And all that.
Okay.
And all that needs to be addressed. And I say fair play to and for highlighting all this as well too, because someone has to be done sooner rather than later.
Well, listen, it's a beautiful part of the world, beautiful people, and very important to us here, Jared. As you are, so stay safe, Jared. All right, and get back onto us. You know what I mean? Don't.
Oh no, I will be. I'm very passionate about this. I feel now is the time someone has to be done about it. We have to keep the pressure on for someone to be done.
But those flashing signs, I think, are brilliant. There's one coming into Capri there as well. Maybe that's the same one you're on about. It's probably a bit further up from Capri, but I'm an outsider. But those are very effective because it just reminds a driver. You have to actively defy the sign, and most of us aren't conditioned to do that. You see, and that's why they work.
That's right. Yeah.
All right, Jared. Keep safe.
Thank you very much, Greg.
All right. Bye. Nice to have you on board. By the way, listening. David, morning to you.
Morning, Greg. How's things?
I'm good. What's your view in it all, David?
Well, Greg, I just heard the man speaking before me there, I think his name was Jared, about it's an accident waiting to happen. In 2020, my uncle was involved in a hit and run at that pedestrian crossing beside the bank, which happened in the evening time. The person involved in the incident was never found in terms of who committed the hit and run. But I think that just exemplifies, the kind of dangerous nature off that pedestrian crossing there at the bank. An accident has happened in 2020, which is 3 years ago now, and it seems to be no remediation done in terms of improving the safety there at that pedestrian crossing. And they're coming in at awful speed. And I do agree in terms of, the hypervigilance of drivers when they don't see flashing lights or they don't see something that calls their attention. Sometimes we're drivers in a bit of a daydream. You're driving from Letterkenny to Donegal Town, we'll say, which is a long enough commute. To keep that hypervigilance throughout your full journey, to look at every sign is very, very difficult.
100%,
I do think safety measures need to be improved there, Greg.
Great. You also want to raise an issue of potholes, David, as well. And listen, thanks for your insight into that. But you also have a concern about potholes as well whilst we're on the roads, David.
Yeah. Well, it seems to be, Greg, we moved into Convoy about a year and a half ago now, and the road situation coming in and around Convoy is absolutely unbelievable. You wouldn't believe it. Once you leave Convoy from the Letterkenny Road towards Glenmaclin, the potholes are probably the length of your arm into the road, and that's no exaggeration. And you've drivers swerving out of the way to miss the potholes to try to decrease damage to their cars. There's pedestrians then walking on them roads. Then you have another car that's approaching the car that's swerving. And I've witnessed, since Christmas, I must have witnessed about nearly 10 missed accidents. And then just shortly after Christmas, Greg, across from the local community playgroup in Convoy, there was a pothole of enormous size. There was an elderly man out walking his dog. There was a car in front of me. It went into the pothole. The water went up over the elderly man, soaked him from head to toe, and he was in shock after. Had to pull over the car, and my friend was on the passenger with me. And then we put a cone into the pothole. Now, I contacted the Lifford County Council office and spoke to the receptionist, who said she would pass the message on. The potholes still remain today, and it's infuriating that you're going out.
These are very dangerous potholes by the sounds of things in Convoy Village and on the Letterkenny Road into Convoy. I don't think anyone in the council would purposely want them to be there. So hopefully someone's listening and they can get out there and sort that out, because that poor gentleman out having a walk too, it's a bit humiliating and inconvenient. But you see, we also use the word accident, David, and this is not correcting you, but drivers are very quickly blamed for speeding, and if you're speeding, it's not an accident, okay? Because there's a cause. Okay. If your car's not worthy, it's not really an accident, because if your car was worthy, maybe it could have been avoided. But the roads and the road infrastructure, if they're poor, they're contributing to collisions. So it's not an accident, because there's a cause and effect with things, isn't there, David? And I think we're NCT'd, we're having to jump through every bloody hoop going. I think we can expect the roads to be at least middling.
Yeah, and other part of it, Greg, as you said, that we pay tax, we pay insurance, we pay NCT. I went away last year, bought a hybrid car to do my bit for the environment that we're being pushed to do. And that's the way that the economy is changing in terms of that sustainable development. And then you're driving a relatively new car, which you pay a lot of money for, and through this infrastructure. Now, the argument can be made that you go the main road from Convoy to Ballyfay to Letterkenny, which is an extra 20 minutes onto your journey. You know what I mean? And which is chock-a-block with traffic. We know that at that junction, coming from Letterkenny into Ballyfay, that T-junction from Convoy to Ballyfay is chock-a-block with traffic. But I just also want to make the point, Greg, I heard someone on earlier about the consultation process between the council and then pedestrian crossing. I really would urge the council to really rethink their consultation methods in terms of how they engage with the public. to interview or to ask people that's using a pedestrian crossing, it's not the majoritarian view of what's going on in the community. That's not really that's a random sample.
Fair enough.
From
Okay, and
Balfour
listen,
Bay.
come here. And you talked about your new car as well. Listen, we did as much as we can talking to experts and determined there's a very, very high pass rate in most of the NCT centres in Donegal. And the only thing that's different here to other places is the condition of the roads. Maybe we have a slightly different attitude and we sort of get the test done and then fix what fails. But the roads are a big part. David, lovely to chat to you. Happy motoring. Any buyer's remorse with your hybrid? Any buyer's remorse with your hybrid?
No, it's going extremely well. So it's a bit of a change. But I think, Greg, when you want reliability and you're looking for a new, I think we're being pushed that way as well. I think that's another conversation in terms of how we're getting on. But
we're not that kind of worms this close to 12. Okay, but definitely worth a chat again in the future. Happy motoring, David. Great to chat to you. Bye bye. Thanks very much indeed. Business Matters on the way.
Business Matters in association with the Faculty of Business at ATU Donegal. Looking for a career in financial services? Consider the Level 9 MA in Governance and IT in Financial Services. Take the next step in your career and contact the Exec Ed Coordinator on 9186206 or email execed, execed at atu.ie today.
All right, Kieran O'Donnell. Imagine why. How are you? Kieran?
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
What's the story?
That's white out there. It's slippy.
It is. I saw you walking up out there, did I? You didn't risk the car, your old back-wheel drive?
No.
POS?
I got parked at the near store and got in here. I'm usually around the back.
I'm surprised you got up to the mountain top of it, let alone up the driveway. Come here. I was at a recent event in Loch Esk. It's amazing the amount of money that's invested in there. And I talked a little bit about maybe sometimes we focus on IT and tech jobs and tech investment, and it's loaded and it's fantastic. But there's amazing investment going on in terms of hospitality and in terms of retail as well. Perfect example what's happening down at the Loch Esk Castle Hotel, Kieran.
Yeah, very well summed up, Greg. Loch Esk Castle Hotel in Donegal Town is to receive an investment of €5 million from Harcourt Developments, and this will see the construction of a 2-storey development comprising 24 suites and 4 bedrooms. So when this new extension is complete, Greg, the team at Loch Esk is expected to increase to 235. So that emphasises.
I think they're planning a infinity sauna or something as well. They mentioned. I'm not sure if it's part of this development or other developments because they've just done up all the rooms as well. Right. Okay. That's great news. Bank of Ireland's $1 million donation to Kieran O'Donnell. Am I reading that correctly?
Yeah, I'll have it with you. Bank of Ireland is set to donate €1 million to organisations supporting those most at risk from the cost of living pressures. The bank is making $500,000 available immediately to 12 organisations working with vulnerable groups across the island of Ireland, and the second $500,000 will be divided among 50 smaller non-profit organisations in March.
All right, business information session taking place?
Yeah, Donegal Local Enterprise Office will hold its next business information and grant aid workshop on Friday, January the 27th. The 2-hour session, which runs from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, will be delivered via Zoom. So the Donegal Local Enterprise Office, Greg, is the first point of contact for those setting up business in Donegal, and these monthly sessions give an overview of the supports and services available to small businesses in the county. So well worth going along and making touch there, or contacting the office on. You can get them on 07491 60735 or email info@leo.donegalcoco.ie.
That's a very fancy shirt you've got on there. You going to the Pulse?
If it's open. you coming along? Have you won in the card?
You do not have to ask me twice. Come here if you can sort out a babysitter. End of a banking year. I mean, to be honest with you, it's been a death by 1,000 cuts for Ulster Bank customers because certain services were being, stripped back over the course of the last couple of months. But the familiar enough frontage is bye-bye.
Yeah. The doors of Ulster Banks in Buncrana, Balbafay, Donegal Town and Killybegs closed for the last time on Friday. Now, the Letterkenny branch is remaining open to help customers to change providers, and the plan is for all these branches to reopen as permanent TSB branches. Just going back to the frontage, Greg, I suppose Letterkenny, for our own example here, locally, it was always a very sort of iconic part of the town and the Market Square there, so it is no more.
That's quite true indeed. Northwest in the city, well, Donegal Town is different obviously because where the Ulster Bank used to be, there's now a pub.
Here.
Yeah, believe it or not. And now Ulster Bank was moved further up the street and it's closing. All right, Northwest in the City event. Kieran, what's this all about?
Yeah, as part of Donegal County Council's focus on attracting talent back to Donegal and the Northwest, its Economic Development Unit is partnering with national agencies, local authorities and stakeholders for the Northwest in the City event, and is taking place in Dublin's Westbury Hotel on Thursday, February the 9th. More than 20 global multinationals and leading companies are expected to attend, and these will include Optum, TCS and Fintru that are based locally here.
All right, we're going to preview this week's podcast after the break.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Now offering MyCU current account and debit MasterCard, bringing full banking features, delivered with the same local trustworthy service of your credit union.
You may think you know driving, but you don't know Nissan e-Power. An electric motor that brings you the performance and response on the road that you demand, charged by a petrol engine as you drive. The thrill and economy of electric driving without ever having to plug in. And it's exclusive to Nissan. Who said you have to plug in to drive electric? Find the drive you've been looking for with e-Power. Now available in the new Nissan Qashqai, a unique electrifying experience now unplugged. Nissan, innovation that excites.
Donegal Denture Clinic, Letterkenny. Denture problems? We can help. At Donegal Denture Clinic, we customise, personalise and tailor your dentures to suit you. Call us for a free consultation on 91 25 25 3. Find us at Ballyrain, Letterkenny, beside Rossin College. Medical cards welcome. For all your denture needs, call Donegal Denture Clinic on 91 25 25 3. Online at donegaldentureclinic.ie.
Instead of getting stuck in traffic every morning, there's something sweet about getting stuck into the engine of a chopper. Working on it, getting it perfect, getting it airborne. In the Irish Defence Forces, you can train for a trade after basic training, like aircraft mechanic or electrician. Get qualified, get experience. If you're looking for a challenge, this is where your future takes off. Because the Irish Air Corps are recruiting right now. Visit military.ie and be more in the Irish Defence Forces.
This January, staying in is the new going out. At Kelly Centre Mountaintop, we've mega deals in fresh, healthy, ready meals range with great deals in our award-winning off-licence and winning offers in fresh meat and produce. Kelly Centre Mountaintop 2022 winner of the National Forecourt Retailer of the Year.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport. Discover Edinburgh this summer with Ryanair's 3 times weekly service. Stunning architecture, endless winding streets and an awe-inspiring castle. Ireland West Airport. Don't just take off, take it easy.
Continuing cold with sunny spells and scattered showers of rain, sleet and snow. Temperatures 2 to 5 degrees in moderate to fresh west and northwest winds. We're in the company of Kieran O'Donnell. In fact, we're going to be tight to squeeze all this in, Kieran. So let's get straight to it. What's on this week's podcast?
Yeah, I'm joined by Letterkenny Chamber of Commerce Chief Executive Officer Tony Forrester and the founder of Pumpskins, Catherine Devine. Last week, Letterkenny Chamber revealed that sales of Shop LK carriage for
you don't have to read very quick. I'm tight in time, but I don't want to.
had exceeded €4 million. So, while delighted, Tony says she was somewhat surprised that the increase of 1 million compared to the figure for 2021.
I remember when, way back in 2014, we reached 800,000, and we thought, it'll go over 1 million, but they'll never really do much more than that, because you start thinking about the population of Letterkenny and the amount of businesses. But it just went on, and we work hard at it, and we put the brand out there a lot. But this million this year, we had assumed in the office here that we might go up by maybe 10-15%. And then the government very helpfully announced that there was the incentive that businesses can get from the scheme was increasing from 500 to 1,000. So that we thought, we'll go up a little bit more. But definitely we didn't think 1 million.
God, I wonder what one of those vouchers look like from your employer. Anyway, Kieran, I'm interested to hear more of that interview with Tony as I am with Catherine. So what are you talking to? Tell us a bit about Catherine.
Yeah, in 2021, Greg, local journalist Catherine Devine decided to quit her role with the Donegal News to invest all of her working time in her company Pumpskins. So Pumpskins makes silicone gel covers for diabetes equipment such as insulin pumps and glucose monitoring systems. Catherine has lived with type 1 diabetes since 2013 and has considerable insight into what people with the condition need. Pumpskins has distribution partnerships in 16 countries from South America, across Europe and the Middle East, and this week the Donegal company will launch on a new American platform. So during our conversation, Greg, I asked Catherine about her decision to leave her full-time position with the Donegal News 3 years ago to concentrate full-time on her business.
Wow, what an amazing story.
It was a huge decision, Kieran, because I think there is safety in traditional employment. There's safety in knowing that you're going into an office and that someone's going to be paying your wages at the end of the month. But then you've got to balance that with the other side of, trying to just look after your family, look after things at home. My husband, Sean's a farmer. I'm helping him on the farm. So there was so much going on. And at one point, even though I knew that I wanted to work for myself, I thought there's absolutely no way that I can leave this job because it would be completely irresponsible of me to take this leap of faith. But I got support from Sean. I got support from people around me, and I knew that this was something I could do.
Another story of people taking a considered, leap of faith. And again, I'm envious. Can't wait to hear more of Catherine Devine there. That's actually really a fascinating story, as they generally all are. Full interviews with Tony Forrester and Catherine Devine are available now on highlandradio.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Business Matters on Air, Kieran?
Yeah, usual time, Greg, just after 6 o'clock news on Sunday evening.
And if people would like to get in touch with you, feedback on the show, suggested items, all that kind of stuff, Kieran?
Yeah, businessmatters@highlandradio.com is the email.
Thank you so much, Kieran. I really do appreciate it. It's always great to have you in. The winner of our snowman competition, the thing's about 48 feet tall. It's amazing. It was built by Erin, Ruby, Amy, Ella and Isabel and Sophia. They've won it. It's 12 foot 1 inch. Bit of thawing, probably 11 foot 9 today. But anyway, congratulations. You've won that cup. We're going to post those images on our socials. Right, thanks to Donna Marie and Caroline Orr, who worked on the show. Thanks to all of you who listened and took part and watched and all that stuff. John's next. We're back tomorrow morning at 9.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your